Welcome back to Late Night at the Movies on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. This is episode 57. We are watching Tombstone. All right, welcome back, everybody. As I mentioned, this is episode 57 of Late Night at the Movies, and we're here today with the full crew. Got Max over here in the house. What's going on?
What's up, boy?
Me, Nico. Then, of course, we got JT there.
Barely.
You like that? Me?
I'm here. Me? Me? Hell no, me. You really?
Yeah, we got our old our very own Huckleberry over there.
Used
And
to
of
bus
course-
on Tuesday one.
And of course, Julie Mack in the house. What's going
Resident hater.
on? Oh, I can't wait! I
Big
can't wait
P.
for your opinion on this.
Little foreshadowing there. I can tell.
We've really been taking Julie for a ride on the genre picks lately for her liking. Like,
Yeah, fuck you guys, actually. You know what?
Nice.
every episode, we might as well just play the same clip. This isn't really in my wheelhouse.
Everything we watch, I'm like, this isn't for me.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Anyway, Max is back here, the return of the king here, right? And Max, before we get into it, any commentary on having missed the spite pick of the last episode?
Oh.
JT's part
On
for Enemy of the State,
like on the movie or on the pick?
just
on
in
the
general, what occurred?
I mean,
Any
I
commentary
listen.
on the
I think
movie?
I kind of mentioned this in our little group chat. Like every pick he does is influenced by me in one way or another. So
You're a powerful figure.
hey, yeah, I guess I am. I'm like I'm more influential than I think. So it is. No, I'm power. It is facts. So JT, like they say, hating is just confused admiration, and so I take it as a compliment, bro.
There you go.
Okay,
love you
Drake.
too.
Okay, we're just gonna call you Drake from now on.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. All right, yeah, fair enough. And what are you, Kendrick? You my op or what's good?
That's it.
You'd love to be compared to him, wouldn't you?
You guys need to get in the
I'm
booth
too
and make
tall.
a remix of Poetic Justice.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would be so cringe.
They just bubbling all over the track.
That's it.
Oh my god. Yeah. Right.
I think we're in the wrong chat right now, guys. Okay, so
So yeah,
What's up,
we're
everybody?
off to
I
the
try to
races
avoid
here.
about rap because of whatever.
For anybody that missed it, JT picked his last pick out of spite to spite Max apparently
That's
for
all
the
good,
Enemy
that's
of
all
the
good.
State, thinking that he was going to be hurt by that because it was a Tony Scott film and
Well, it is a favorite of mine, and I was actually making plans to have seen it, and then just my gut wouldn't let me, so I couldn't come in.
all good though. But today we're here to talk about Tombstone. So yeah.
Yeah.
Take it away, Max. A very timely pick, which I'm sure is
that's-
half the reason why.
Well, you know
he
what's
ended up
funny
taking this one.
is the moment I found out Val Kilmer had passed, rest in peace, by the way, is the moment I discovered this movie, because I was watching a stream online of this guy that I watch sometimes, this like video gamer. He's like a Tekken player, and he was like he was reading his chat, and he says, "Oh yeah, Val Kilmer was great in Tombstone," and I was like, "What? Why is he talking about Val Kilmer?" And then I googled to find out that he died, and that sucked because I love Val. And then he was
he's on a first name basis all the time.
I
love
mean,
Val,
how
you
many
know.
Vals do you know, bro? What do you want? Okay, Val Kilmer, happy God. And then guys, just always, oh my God. And then he really
said
is
you're
he's
gonna
the
bring it
enemy
for
of
me
my
this show.
state, is what he is, bro.
That's it, buddy. I love you
Enemy
too.
of my state of peace, bro.
Yeah.
So and fuck. So then yeah, Val Kilmer, he died, rest in peace. And I hadn't noticed until Top Gun Maverick that he wasn't in movies anymore, that he was suffering with he had like throat cancer or something. I don't know, he had something with his voice.
Yeah.
And
throat cancer.
I didn't know that when I saw Top Gun Maverick, when I saw that this summer it came out, I was like, oh shit, that's Val Kilmer, and it's like, oh, he has something wrong with his voice. I wasn't really up to date, and I was like, oh yeah, he hasn't been in movies for a while, and so to find out that he's passed away, was probably suffering a lot in the later portion of his career, and so rest in peace to him. But then the guy talked about Tombstone. I was like, what is Tombstone? I'd never heard of this movie, and I looked it up, and so this is one of Val Kilmer's more prominent roles, I guess. One of them is more noteworthy performances, just because of, I feel like this is a movie everyone knows except me. Like I just never heard of this movie prior to 2 weeks ago after he had passed.
Yeah, and obviously known as more of a character actor, right? This is one of his well-known
performances,
characters. Yeah, Doc Holliday. Yeah, which I was aware of this film, but never watched it before. So,
I never heard of it. And so this is actually a first for me because this is a movie that I've done on this show since I've joined the show that I've not seen.
This is the first one.
This is the first one. I think the Giuseppe gonna make a movie. What is that movie called?
The Lost Episode.
Yeah, that was gonna be probably number one, but that never ended up happening, or maybe it's soon to come. We'll see. But no, this is officially the first movie that I have not seen that we're discussing on this show, and it's also scratching another itch of mine because I had recently rewatched. No, not rewatched. I recently came across on TV, like watched a bit of it. Do you remember that movie Kevin Costner came out with last year called Horizon? That big epic western that he financed,
like a 3-hour one.
It was like,
and there's a part 2 coming.
There's a part 2. I think there's gonna be like 4 chapters. It's a huge epic. And I'm watching a good an hour and a half, 2 hours of it. And I'm like, wow, this is like really good. Like I was ashamed I didn't watch it, and then I noticed like I don't really watch too many westerns. And I feel like, and it's described in the early portion of Tombstone, like the first 10 or so minutes. No, the first like 1 minute of it with the narration. The Western is like the OG like gangster movie of like American cinema. Like it was originally like the Western, this whole like concept of like outlaws and just these people doing whatever they want.
You hit on it. They literally said that the gang in here, they called themselves the Cowboys, were the first group recognized for an organized crime in America.
Yeah. So I'm watching this Kevin,
the original gangster,
absolutely original gangster, right? So Buck, big up Jamaica. So anyway, this has nothing to do with anything. So we were watching. I was watching that Horizon, right? And I'm like, yo. So I was like kind of kicking myself. I'm like, I should watch more westerns because I feel like the Western is like the ultimate like man genre. Like it is the most masculine genre. It's just like guys on horses with guns battling each other, battling the elements. Just on some real survivor shit, right?
Guys hanging out on the open plain.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Okay, we don't have to go. The power of the dog with it, that shit.
I can't wait for Julie's this movie's gay
Yeah.
It's a Western. Come on.
Everyone on Letterboxd looks for like a gay angle for anything. You can't. It's like you can't talk about anything without people going, "This is actually secretly about like gay." I'm like,
listen, if you want a gay Western, we have it. With, what do you call it?
Power of the Dog.
No. Oh, I wasn't even thinking that one.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah. I was like, that's the gay Western.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's not gonna be Western because they're hanging out on the mountain and wearing cowboy hats.
Yeah, I guess whatever. Western is also kind of a loose term. There's like a lot. I mean, what can be considered a Western, right? Like, I think they said No Country for Old Men is a Western, and that's like in our modern day time or.
I wouldn't consider
no?
it.
Okay.
But it definitely has some sort of
the line.
elements.
And so I was watching. So this is a good movie. It's an interesting one. I enjoyed it. Great performances. Oh yeah. So I should mention more about the details. So released in 1993, directed by George P. Cosmatos. How do you say his name? Cosmatos, who's actually the father of Panos Cosmatos, who directed Mandy. Do you guys see Mandy with Nicolas Cage? Yeah.
Never seen it. I know of it though.
Yeah. So he was like, he's like hilarious. The father of this guy, and so that's how I know. I actually know him through his son because he's been making movies in our time, and so. But this guy's also directed.
Oh, he did Rambo: First Blood Part 2. Oh, I didn't know that. And Cobra. This guy did Cobra.
Yeah, Cobra. So he's got some. But it was so funny. I maybe we could talk about it later. But I read in some notes that it was actually that he's only the director of this movie in name, apparently Kurt Russell took credit for actually like being the real director of this movie. Kurt Russell, right? The main actor, right?
Yep.
Kurt Russell. So starring Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp, Sam Elliott as his older brother Virgil Earp, and Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday, amongst other actors.
Oh,
of
Bill
course.
Paxton, his other
Bill
brother
Paxton,
too. Yeah.
Stephen Lang. is in this.
Fantastic cast in this.
No,
movie.
really,
That's
really,
actually one
really-
of my first notes on this.
Stacked.
Great cast.
Really.
And like for this period, and also no one even seems out of place in this. Like
No.
I was kind of trying to see like who didn't seem like they would fit in a Western. Everyone seems like perfect for this film that they cast. It's really good.
So I
Can I
didn't
just
know.
say, I had no idea that was Kurt Russell. No idea.
Really?
No
Come
fucking idea. And then I looked into the fucking filmography and I was like, I've actually never seen a Kurt Russell movie.
Oh, okay, that explains it.
I've
Because if
never
you know who
seen
Kurt Russell
any.
is, then you like, then you.
I
then
know
you-
who he is, but I was like, who the fuck is this? After I watched it, I was like, that was Kurt Russell.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
Never
it's
seen a
good.
fucking
it's-
Kurt Russell movie.
He never
Yeah, yeah.
really. even
No,
changes.
Kurt Russell's the man.
One time he said, "Hey Goldie, you want my love muscle?" All right. Anyways, old school minute line there for you guys, but yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know this movie was about Wyatt Earp, who is someone I actually was familiar with before.
And a real person.
A real person.
Yeah.
No, he's like the most famous. He's like the most mythical character of the American
like
Old West.
frontier time.
Exactly. Like there's so many,
Post-Civil War.
so many movies have been made about him. Like so many. Like
Yeah, there's been so many people that have played him.
played
as
him.
well.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
when
yeah.
the movie finishes, the very end, when the guy says the ending narration, when the guy says like the old school Western actors were like crying at Wyatt Earp's actual funeral. Like, yeah, that makes sense because they have been making movies about Wyatt Earp since there was a Hollywood. Like he has been just like a very prominent figure. And so I didn't know that this was the story about it. They've made so many adaptations about this legend. And Doc Holliday as well is always a character because he was a close friend of his. So they've just been appearing in all these movies. And so I didn't know what this was about. I was like, oh, okay, this is what this is about. Nice. And so it's cool. Yeah, sorry, I'm hogging the mic. You guys go around and talk about
let's get Julie out of the way here.
Let me pull out my notes.
What was your thoughts on this, Julie?
I've never seen it. I'd never heard of it.
Western. You know who Kurt Russell?
Didn't know who fucking Kurt Russell was. No, I know who he was. I just didn't know it was him.
I'm just.
I haven't seen a lot of Westerns, and even like I've seen a couple probably, but like it's not a genre I seek out. It's very similar to the horror thing. It's
Cheers,
just not
Julie.
something I. Oh, cheers, buddy. Just not something I gravitate towards generally, but like I've seen a couple. I don't like loosely. Like I've seen Blazing Saddles. Like I've seen No Country for Old Men. I've seen
Right.
like I've seen stuff that like
modern Westerns.
it's adjacent, I guess. But like I haven't seen a lot of like the old Westerns and stuff. I know loosely the story of Wyatt Earp. Like I was aware of that as a concept, but I didn't know a whole lot about it. So I kind of went into it blind. I didn't know much about any of it. But yeah, that's my history with the movie.
Jay,
What do you got, buddy?
I seen this years ago, like probably when I was.
I think you're the only person to have seen this movie
Yep.
out of the four of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is kind of your thing too, isn't it? Like you've seen a lot of these types of movies.
Well, I mean, I grew up with them around in the house too. There was that in the horror movies. These ones were big. Like when these came out, the Tombstone and all that. There was a whole bunch of them. What were they? Tombstone, Young Guns, and all that stuff that came out around. Unforgiven, all that stuff that came around the same time. So those were big, when I was growing up, when the old man was at the house and stuff like that. We used to watch a lot of those movies along with the horror movies just to mix everything up. And I know I watched a lot of movies growing up. I haven't revisited this one in years until just recently. And I forgot how complex it was and how interesting it was. But I've known the story of Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday for a long time. I mean, he literally wrote a book about him and then still defended him till the day he died. You know what I mean? So, and they had different types of views. They had different ways of dealing with stuff, when it came to those times. Right. So, honestly, this time to kind of like unwrap it and stuff like that was still, just as confusing. I can see why I liked it when I was younger because of the action. And if you're saying he did direct Rambo and thing, then that kind of
I didn't
makes
know
me
that until now. Yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense.
Well, but that makes sense, right? Because of the type of action that's in this one, considering they're using very basic things. You know what I mean? Like the set and all that stuff. Westerns are pretty easy. I mean, it goes all the way back to like my old man and my grandparents probably watching spaghetti westerns, bro. Like,
Great.
you know what I mean? And those are even before, way before this. These were like in the 50s and 60s when those
Yeah,
came out.
Fistful of Dollars and all
Yeah.
those type
Great
of movies.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes from a whole different era, and to see them still kicking around, and it's nice that they still have things out there that are Western. But I'm not even
Now and then,
movie
not as
wise. No,
much.
movie
Yeah.
wise, no. But they do have television series and all that stuff, and that's the thing, huge ones.
Yep.
And
Is Yellowstone a Western? Is
yeah,
that
it's
like
considered
yeah,
Western.
Yeah.
It's early
And
That's
they,
like a
al-
19.
very
and they
popular
also
show.
have the spin-offs as well.
Yeah, they got a lot of them actually. Yeah.
They got ones that were before that, 1800s, 1882 and stuff. They have a bunch of
Right.
spin-offs, right? So, but it talks about that whole time, and that's this whole era, and the cowboys and the law trying to enforce itself. That's
Mhm.
always been a cool thing. Like, the
Yeah.
outlaws and the good guys. You grew. I mean, at my age, I mean, that's what I grew up with. That the good guys and the bad guys. And when Max says it's fucking reminds him of like you said there was, what was that word it was used, that it
Masculine.
reminded you a very masculine movie. Yeah, that it does come to mind when now that you just thought about it, they are very masculine movies. And yeah, it's just a bunch of guys getting drunk, shooting guns, and I mean,
People dying like it's nothing, and they're just like so nonchalant about like a dead body on the
Smoking
ground.
opium.
They're smoking
Smoking
opium,
opium, yeah, getting drunk and banging women, and it's just like the good
playing
old days.
poker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now you gotta ask. Back then, it was all just, what the guys just
Some
did,
real
right?
man cave shit right here. Like,
Yeah, couldn't get these
Oh.
guys, but no, I like that old style, those old times, because they look like they could have been a fun time. I probably wouldn't have survived. I kind of pushed
Yeah.
myself to a Wyatt Earp type of guy, but I can be cocky like a doc, but I got the voice of a Virgil.
Yeah, you're Sam Elliott. I think of it. We're like,
You know what I mean, at the end of the day,
Could you imagine this guy narrating something? What the hell are you talking about? He's like Sam
Yeah.
Elliott.
You could barely string a sentence together. What the fuck are you talking about?
We were doing a hockey pool the other day. People couldn't even hear his picks, and they were sitting across the
Dude,
table from him.
do you know what you guys are sitting across? You're sitting across the table from him, and even with your headphones, right, Max? You could probably hear him from a mile away.
Of course.
Okay, I am telling you right now, these guys, when they get together, I call
Bro,
them the three.
we stick a
Stooges,
mic
and
in front of your face. We can't even hear you. What are you talking about?
Hey, that's practically in my mouth, and the fucking game is up all the way. So, what I'm trying to say is that you get these guys in the same room together. But me and my nephew were just looking at each other because we're like the quiet ones. He can't even raise his voice like that, right? These guys are the loudest. I can only imagine the poor people that had to hang out with them afterwards. No, sorry, dude.
Are you done?
I love you.
Yeah, what a weird thread.
Are you
I
done?
went on a tangent there for a second. You
A
can
little
edit
bit.
that.
All good. It's great. I love these
don't worry,
tangents.
Nico will edit it out
Yeah,
along all your other speaking parts.
yeah. Just keep talking shit. I'm just gonna remove it. It's gonna be like
Trimming
Poochie.
the fat.
What do you think of the
Hey,
movie?
he knows I don't go back. He knows I don't go back and rewatch them anyways, right? So he's like, okay, you won't even remember.
He'll
Doesn't
he'll
remember
edit out
anything.
all your
Oh,
talking
diarrhea.
shit, but he'll keep his in, right?
No. So this movie I've never seen. This is my first time watching it.
Mhm.
As well. I'm happy to have watched it because, like you said, I was aware of it for some time, but I had never actually gotten around to checking it out. And that's why, some of these theme picks where we kind of just remember somebody that may have passed, that we just literally just did Enemy of the State because of Gene Hackman in part as well of the spite pick. But it's also, we tried to tie that into it, right? You know what, though? I like JT's line of thinking, though. A couple of things that I actually thought of when Jay was talking about, not trash talking me there. I liked, I like what he said about, like, I actually have had this conversation before. I thought to myself, if I had to live back in like a certain time, like
Right.
where would I have wanted to experience? And I actually also said like this frontier times, like with the kind of like the whole, because it just seems so interesting, the development of these towns and like the way things were
Right.
going back then. Obviously there's rough times ahead, and the many like things in the past you could references, like where would you have wanted to, you know, what time would you have wanted to live in? But I just think that would have been the most exciting, kind of like, you know, just like, you know, sleeping under the stars, like kind of like riding around on horses, like doing this kind of stuff. And yeah, obviously there's all kind of, you could get shot very easily, and there's like bandits and everything else, but like it just seems like a very interesting time. Like I actually agree with Jay what he's saying. Like I probably wouldn't survive either, but if I had to pick one, like, you know, if you had to, like, if you could choose from being that or a pirate or even like medieval times or something, what would you choose? I think it would be, I think this time, I honestly, I believe
all
that.
Great picks,
yeah, like post Civil War, like this era a time. Yeah, I think that'd be very interesting to live in, honestly. But so
It's
what?
No, it's just kind of like where everything started. Like when you're looking for new land, or you're looking for new places to take, you know, to run, and just that whole development be post. I guess it would be post
post Civil War,
right?
But post, even like even look at the way they were having to put the water out in the fires with buckets. Like really, so post like even the industry, the
right.
So this took place, 1879. This took place, this movie, right? They talk about that. And actually, it's very important that you listen to the first bit of the film. That's like a huge info dump where I had to go back and listen to it a couple of times, because they explain a lot about like the where they all are currently and like what they're up to. Because like you could go into this, and if you didn't catch the fact that Doc Holliday had tuberculosis at the start, it's not really mentioned. Like you see that he's sick, but you don't really get into it all that much, where they're like, oh, he's got tuberculosis, right? Like you just know he's sick throughout it, and he goes, he collapses and he sees a doctor and he's sweating his ass off in this movie. But like, you know, you don't, unless you miss that, like if you miss that part at the start, you know, it explains a lot about where Wyatt Earp was coming from, like him going to Tombstone and everything else, and how like it's just like it was like a big silver boom at that time, like the city of Tombstone. That's why he had went there, right, and retiring essentially, or trying to retire, right, essentially by going there, right. So, but yeah, I agree. This would be a very interesting time. My first time watching the movie, and the other thing that I kind of like what Jay said there too, which I kind of really like, is the theme of this film. It really is a lot about friendship between these two characters. And I think this is one of the best characters I've actually seen Val play. I'll just throw that out there to begin with. He was great in this. Every time he opened his mouth, in terms of quotes for this episode, it's literally anything he said, like in the movie. Like I loved like the Southern gentleman, like drawl, like to his voice. I loved like, and like you said, like he was kind of like you know, it's not somebody you would think would have been friends with him, because he's a very kind of definitely more feisty kind of, you know, get into shit kind of character. Like he's gambling all the time, but he stood by this guy. But he stood by his friend, because he said, there's even like a great line where he says that he's like, because he's my only one and not many people like me, or something like that. He says like, and that, but he does, and that's why I stick by him. Like he's like a good friend of mine, right? Like I really like that about this movie, and I really thought Val killed it. Honestly,
he was amazing.
He was amazing. Yeah, I can see why this character along like his career is so revered, like amongst like, because I thought you were gonna pick The Doors, because I think that's another one people pick. Like
I've seen that one.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie, but I know that's like one Jim Morrison, people also point to as like one of his high points, right? In terms of his career, right? All around the same time too. This Heat, like all around the same 90s, time, seemingly kind of peaked during this point in his career, right? So
Batman.
Yeah, exactly. So. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say about it too.
You know what's so funny about this movie? Like I checked, it is rated R, but I feel like it's like a lowercase rated R. Like, you know, does that make sense? Like
in '93, it was probably rated an R.
Yeah, because there is violence, but it's not like gruesome. Right, it's not like brutal, and then because I feel like this is something you could actually show your kids, like even if it is like there is kind of blood and stuff in it. Honestly,
because I think it follows more like old school, like Western kind of approach. Like honestly, in that sense, like I haven't seen many older Westerns, but that's kind of what I got from it too. But if you think about the last half hour of this movie, it's a bloodbath. They are killing everybody in the last half hour of this film. As soon as he kills his brother, what's his name? Not Virgil. Morgan.
Yeah.
It's like game over. Like they just literally, he's like, okay, the gloves are off. We're just gonna kill
blood.
And they just kill like 50 people. The rest of the movie is insane.
No, they were bad guys. Fuck them.
Yeah, but to your point, it's not the way it's delivered.
It doesn't feel like, because I've seen like other westerns that had like killings and stuff like that, and it felt way more brutal and gruesome than this. I don't know what it is. I think they're showing blood, but they're not showing too much of it. They're not going into detail of like the violence.
Yeah,
to make
somebody gets shot in the head. It's like a little
blood.
circle.
Yeah.
It's not like your heads explode.
No,
right?
no, exactly that. You're not seeing anyone's bones sticking out of their fucking
yeah.
Arm or whatever. So.
Yeah. But again, to your point, like they do kill like a lot of people in the last minute of this film.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can show
like the part is when they're like digging the bullet out of his back. That was probably the most gory part that they showed. Yeah.
It's only for like a split second or whatever, It's like and also I think the music too. Like this movie was on Disney Plus and it feels like a Disney kind of movie in a way. Like I don't know if Disney didn't
change the music.
But it's on Disney Plus. Yeah.
That's where I watched it.
Yeah. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, and I think because I was watching on Disney Plus, like in my mind, I'm like, is this like some Disney? Because I think the music, it has a very Disney kind of soundtrack. Like it has like this optimistic like cheer to it. The music. So, so I don't know. It's just like, wow, this is kind of like as violent or as like a rated R movie. This is kind of lighthearted in the same sense too.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really interesting. When I was watching, I was like, wow, this is like a lowercase rated R,
I normally pay attention to the music cues a lot, and I actually didn't with this one. So I'm like, now that you point that out, I'm like, yeah, it kind of was, but like it was really like
background-ish.
Very much to me, because I was locked in trying to pay attention to the narrative so much that I didn't notice it because I just like didn't know anything. So I feel like I didn't give it any sort of thought process about the score or anything, but like just barely recalling, like you're kind of right. Like it was sort of like flourishy and lighthearted, like the music cues particularly, but
lighthearted. Yeah, that's the word I'd use.
No.
Jay, can I ask you something? You said westerns are easy. What did you mean by that? I was just curious earlier.
Like easy for you to watch?
Easy for you to watch.
No. Easy not to watch it because this movie is still hard to pick apart if you don't know. Even like if you're going in there open and don't know the story of anything with Wyatt Earp and all that, then you got to really pay attention. But when I say easy, I mean like filming wise, I don't think it takes too much to like.
I thought that's what you meant, like easy to make.
I disagree.
I disagree completely because like even like there's so much going on. First, they probably had to like build that small town, the set. Like
they would probably build it in the desert somewhere out down
or whatever wherever they're building it. But like I just noticed there's this one scene when all four characters are like talking to each other. They're like in a little huddle or whatever. But then there's so much going on in the background. Like there's all these horses and these townsfolk and like there's just so much activity that is happening in the background. And I'm thinking like, wow, this took probably a lot of coordination to create like to make it a kind of town and stuff.
Coordination is one thing. I'm just talking about like props and scene stuff like that to display. I don't think
but it's like a period piece. Like it's kind of really hard to do that.
Yeah,
plus this is all practical effects, right? It's not like
probably
it's not any like
none of that CGI shit,
right? Like,
no, I know, but practical effects don't mean that. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're gonna. It just means stuff that they're using. But I guarantee you, these production companies keep a lot of the stuff that they've had from history because there's reasons why you see cars. Reasons why cars from that time period and stuff like that. Like when they first came out, there's reasons because they do store that stuff specifically for and that's what you maybe rent or whatever for the movie or take for the props or whatever and stuff like that. But I don't think like they can save stuff like in that production and maybe cost them a little bit more to do the filming with the cameras and moving and all that action going on, which is a little different. But I mean, easy, like, yeah, like clothes are pretty basic when they put them on. They're nothing. I mean, they get some flashed out dresses, but not
The
like
budget
nothing.
was 25 million.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's a lot in 93.
Yeah, that does seem
That's
like
a big
lot.
budget for 93.
Oh my
yeah,
god. It came out on Christmas. This is another Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it's I think it's more for the cast too, right? That they had
Cast,
as,
yeah. Kurt
was the
Russell,
main
Val
cast,
Kilmer.
right?
Yeah.
They would have to pay. There's a decent amount of money going strictly towards them too, right? I would think.
Yeah.
So part of their budget, right?
I mean, how many like all these horses that you see and all these buildings that they have to build and all these like
bro, just because we don't see horses because we're in Canada that much, there's a shitload
but
of stuff.
to have horses like to make them like move so that they're in a movie kind of thing. You know, you can't just have the horses running wild, right? You gotta have to like
You have to have people riding the horses, isn't it?
yeah, you have to
got
have
some
people riding them and
doubles,
stuff.
people riding them. But at the end of the day, it's still only horses. So you don't have to go out and buy them and pay for them.
That's
You can
like
rent them.
technically a prop, right? A horse in a sense, right?
Yeah.
You know,
So some humans.
This is actually interesting too. I've never even seen this one. Apparently, in 1994, a year later, they actually did a Wyatt Earp film
with Kevin Costner,
yeah.
Kevin Costner.
Dennis Quaid plays Doc Holliday in that one. And Gene Hackman's in that too.
And
Man, Hackman was enjoying the Western Jones time because Unforgiven is just like a year or two later.
So I have like a little piece of movie trivia. I don't know if you guys want to hear. I think Nico would appreciate it. I think they for Virgil Earp, which is the older brother that Sam Elliott played.
Yeah.
I actually think originally he was like actually the more famous brother, and then his younger brother kind of surpassed them in notoriety. I think because he was originally a sheriff or whatever, a marshal or whatever. He's played in the Kevin Costner movie by Michael Madsen in '94.
Oh, cool!
And that is the reason why Michael Madsen did not play. Why he was not in Pulp Fiction. He was supposed to be in Pulp Fiction. Because remember,
he's supposed to be the the John
Vic
Travolta.
Vega.
Yeah.
No, remember in Reservoir Dogs, his character is Vic Vega, who's John Travolta's
the Vega
brother.
brothers. Yeah,
But it was originally just gonna be him. It was no brother, and then Tarantino had to make the brother and cast because Michael Madsen wasn't available. It would have been Michael Madsen and Samuel Jackson in Pulp Fiction instead of John Travolta, and that's another parallel universe. I'm
glad it turned out the way it did.
Yeah, because. But I really love Michael Madsen. So
do I. Yeah. But I mean, and then obviously it's things like this, which is the reason why Tarantino went and like put Kevin Costner on Hateful Eight and things like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Kurt Russell.
I mean, not Kurt. Yeah, you were right. Kurt Russell was in this. and then obviously Michael Madsen and all those.
Right.
Yeah.
But Kurt Russell, Kevin Costner, Sam Elliott, I feel like those guys are like the mainstays of like the Western genre. Like you see them, they're in a lot of Westerns. And they have the look for it. They have the look. They have that stern, like, you know, masculinity look. And they have the voice for it and stuff. And so it's good to see them in. It was good to see a movie with Kurt Russell. I feel like I haven't seen one with him in a long time too. Like I liked his performance in this too.
What other likes or dislikes did you have about the film exactly?
Dislikes? I don't know. You know, I like that this movie is like I don't know how to say it, but it's not like very auteurish.
Yeah.
I like that. Like, I feel like I didn't have to think too much about it. I could just let the movie kind of wash over. I don't have to geek out about anything or have to, it's just like a movie, like a regular kind of movie. So I just kind of like that most about this movie, that it didn't feel like there was any pressure.
It's more driven by the characters, essentially. Yeah. Instead of the actual, like, I think directing or like the cinematography there's some nice shots in this though. Yeah. There's some nice shots in this film. I thought like with and like there's a shot like of them like right behind them as they're all kind of four of them are going through the on their horses or whatever when they're about to go take down the bad guys. There's a lot of great moments. I actually even like the ending. I wish that they still did endings like that when the credits roll and you see them all kind of walking together. Right. I really dug that. That's like a lost thing now.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that shit. I mean, we talked about it a little bit about it on exactly when they did the
Like
freeze
the
frame.
Breakfast Club, yeah.
Well, we talked about it more recently on Max's last pick when we did the
Manhunter.
Manhunter and the way
When they're on the beach.
when they froze that, right? So like, but like that's kind of I like to see them assemble at the end there and with the credits roll, all kind of triumphantly walking and showing off all the characters, even though at this point like some of the people that were walking were dead. It's like, let's see them again at the end of the movie and like let's kind of show off the actors one more time that we were able to bring together in this, right? I like that. I like how they do that. And then they also gave you a summary of what happened after this movie, which I love. That's another thing they don't do enough anymore, where they're like, after this, Wyatt Earp, he went off to do this or whatever, and they give you like a summary of what has happened to the characters since. You know how they used to do those freeze frames, and then they would even write it sometimes.
Yeah.
Be like, after this, blah, blah, so and so went and he became a professor or something. You know what I mean?
You're right. You know, I will say, okay, there's one flaw in the movie that I noticed. I feel like outside of Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer's character, I don't think any of the other characters are like as fleshed out, maybe as thoroughly.
I thought the bad guys were.
I did like that's. I was gonna say like I did it. Well, who's the main villain? What was his name? Roy Ringo. Johnny Ringo.
Johnny Ringo, yeah.
Ringo, I feel like he's just like, well, he's this evil guy, but then that one part of the movie where they're like,
so I'm gonna say he basically gets called the Joker in this, essentially.
The Joker, like from Batman.
So when he's on his deathbed, Doc Holliday, there's a scene there at the end when he's on his deathbed, and he's like, "I don't think you're gonna be able to beat this guy because he just does this bad shit because he's bored."
Yeah,
that's like the Joker's motivation,
right?
Yeah. Like that's kind of
some
like,
people just want to see the world burn, right?
That's exactly what that speech was. It was trying to say, like, I don't think you have it in you to take this guy down because you stand for like what's right. Like this guy just does shit just to do it, and you can't pin him down, right? No. In terms of like,
I like
this next move, right?
But when they said that, line, I feel like the whole movie, I guess, was coming towards this kind of point where they're gonna have that final showdown with that character. I feel like that character is barely in this movie for the moment to feel as big as it did. Like he showed up in like 2 scenes before that or whatever, right? Like I
agree with Max.
You know what I mean? It wasn't really like any, like, at least with the Joker, you see more of him for them to like kind of question about it.
Comparing his motivations. To
It's not about the motivations. I just feel like they should have colored him in a little bit more. It's just like,
I mean,
felt a little.
I don't think he was a big. It wasn't a big part of the actual Wyatt Earp Doc Holliday thing. Remember, this is just kind of like a stop in. You know what I mean? Like a stop in town that they're doing with the Tombstone thing, where they first come here to try to.
There was that. That was where the gun down at the OK Corral happened, where it's just like the most famous gunfight in the Old West.
Well, to Jay's point, that they keep referencing this movie, like his name's already well known at this point. Like that's why when he even comes,
there's a lot that happened.
This is supposed to be like the post, like part of his whole career, like because he says I'm retiring, and then this happens, and then he kind of lives on his days in like happy after this and married and everything else that they said there at the end, right? But this, you're right. This is basically after his like he's well known for all of the stuff that he got into,
for law-abiding stuff.
Because they even reference that in this, right? They're like, "Oh yeah,
the law-abiding too, right?"
Yeah, he's done with that, right?
Because when he shows
he just wanted to retire, I think, at the end with this movie, it did a good depiction of that. Like, what would it have been like in his, and then he had to figure out what the fuck to do with this town. He gets stored himself into a position in this town, right? So now they got to fight, they got to defend, they got to do all this shit. I mean, imagine meeting the mayor and everything all in one, like not having a proper. Like that,
just,
that guy
just shooing him away like he's nothing. Like, not interested.
But then, fuck, bro.
Also, I get what you're saying about those bad guys not being that well defined, but they're also just a group of 100 like outlaws, essentially.
They're just stock movie villain. I feel like, and like, okay, you know what? The other 2 brothers, I don't think they like. I don't think they need to be in the movie any more than they were, because I think they did do a good job of like just showing their motivation, like, hey, they're brothers and they're gonna stand by each other no matter what. I really like Sam Elliott in this movie. Who's the actor who played the younger one? Bill Paxton. He was great too. Just I like that brotherly camaraderie kind of thing in the movie. But
he's still alive too. I think he's gone.
Bill Paxton passed away. Yeah, unfortunately. Rest in peace to him too. But
Another great character.
Sam Elliot's the
Yeah,
only one
for
Another
sure.
amazing character.
Absolutely.
Every time you see him,
Absolutely.
he's good in everything. Really,
100%.
Yeah.
But like the villains, I feel like they come into like some they come to some wedding, they f that stuff up, they kill the groom, kill the bride, have some chicken or whatever, and then it's just like it's just them doing bad shit the
They're
whole movie. And
drifters,
there's
bro.
nothing like there's nothing like really to them. I feel
Down to town, they go there to get drunk, rob people.
I get what you're saying, but I kind of even liked how they introed the movie with them. Like,
Yeah.
I liked that they were the first because, like, again, it reminded me of older movies where
They show the villain
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in action movies, you used to see the villain first and foremost. Then they would show the hero, right? And then you would have to figure out. They would show you how the hero got to the villain, like
Absolutely.
how their world.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah,
I love that. Like, I love that's more old school action movie kind of trope, like where it's just like, here's the villain, he's gonna do a really messed up thing at the start of the movie, and then you're like, oh, who's that guy? And then like all of a sudden they get into the story of the hero, right?
But
like,
you see, they said that line that you just brought up about Johnny Ringo, about like, oh, some people are just taking revenge for their own birth or whatever, and they're trying to make it like there's some separation from him and all the other villains.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel that because they show them all an equal amount of time just doing bad shit. So I was just like, okay, what separate? I know this guy does this like fast pistol shit, like,
right.
You know what I mean? That was a really cool
moon. Come on, bro.
Besides that, I was just like, I don't know. I just would have liked a little bit more detail when it came to the villains. Just like maybe a couple more scenes.
Yeah.
That's really my only gripe with the movie, because I think what it does well, it does very well.
I was gonna say, to be fair, I agree with you in that sense, though, because like for a second there, you thought Curly Bill was supposed to be the main guy. It seemed like, but then he definitely seemed more of a prominent kind of like figure like at the start, and then as it went on, it became more about Doc Holliday's vendetta against, like, he's the one that didn't like Johnny Ringo because of that scene with the spinning and everything.
Yeah, he's like, yo, F this guy, taking my shine away.
He's like, no, he's like,
I'm the big gun in town.
I mean, there's some quotes later, but he's like basically like, now I know I really don't like
yeah,
you.
That was a great scene.
I hate this guy or whatever. Like, pretty much, I hate him. Yeah, I like that.
I'm curious, Julie. So I'm thinking you didn't like this movie, not very much. You want to get into it? Like,
she's chugging that drink, bro. She's like, yeah.
Hey man, no hurt feelings, man.
Get the liquid courage in me.
I actually like it when you don't like movies. It makes for interesting conversation.
I didn't feel too strongly about anything. Like, I feel really bad. I don't have a lot of notes about this movie because it was like here's what I think. The first 20 minutes of the movie, it was so hard to pay attention to it. I actually paused it and left. And then I came back and I restarted it. Or like started from where I left off. But the first 20 minutes, I was like fucking around, cleaning up my room. I was like not paying attention to the first 20 minutes of the movie, solid. And yeah, and then I was just like, what the fuck? That was Kurt Russell. Like, didn't know that. And what else did I write down? I wrote that, like, I guess that Val Kilmer's accent was kind of weird. I think it was just like meant to be this drunken additional drawl to the Southern drawl. But I felt like his accent was really weird in like parts of it.
Way,
it was funny, but like, huh?
Who, the Doc?
Yeah,
he was kind of meant to be like flamboyant, though.
I think
he
was kind of like supposed to be like this educated, sort of sophisticated sounding guy, right? Yeah. And like, I get it, but like, yeah, when he was like doing the drunk scene, I was like, what fucking accent is this now? Like that, I just felt like, I don't know, maybe I just didn't get it. But I think that like Val Kilmer's performance was fucking excellent, and so was Kurt Russell's. Like, that dynamic was really good.
That's my favorite part of this movie.
I just didn't. I don't know. I agree with your point about like the bad guys not being that fleshed out, because it was just like felt like we didn't really even know who the main villain was supposed to be because it switches partway through.
Yeah,
and like, I get it. The main theme is like this whole like family connective thing and like this love triangle shit and like the revenge bit, and like, I get it, but it just felt. I don't think it's a fault of the movie. I think it's a fault on my interest in the genre. So like, I can't even fault the movie for being like not living up to expectations for me. It's just like, I didn't feel like I gave it the attention it needed. So it's me. I'm the hater. I'm the hater because I didn't want to watch a Western. That's what it was.
You know
But
what? Though?
it wasn't a bad movie.
And you
It
came
was.
here to discuss it, though. That's the whole point of this show. So, I mean, like, that's whether or not you loved it or you hated it. I mean, at least you gave it a shot, right?
I
Like,
feel indifferent. I can't
Yeah.
even. I feel like I can't even score it on Letterboxd because like I don't think it was bad, but I didn't love it because I just didn't. I was,
Yeah.
it was for science. That's what I feel.
I think I said this word earlier, and I'm going to use it again just for lack of a
Mm-hmm.
better word, but like it's a little generic. Like
Yeah,
it's not like stylized. It's not stylish. It doesn't really try to like pop out at you in any way. It's just like I just remember a lot of movies of the time, and even like
it's
just
very cut and dry.
yeah, it's very face value of a
but
movie.
it serves its purpose.
Absolutely.
That's the main
It's
thing.
a docudrama.
100%.
Like,
For
yeah,
what this movie is supposed to be, it 100% delivers.
Yeah.
I feel
Whether
like-
you like it or not is really up to you. Like in that sense,
Yeah.
I feel like generic is a bad word because it means bad. I don't mean the
Oh,
movie.
I know
It's
what you
like,
mean.
you
I know
what
what you mean.
Do you get what I'm saying?
But
here?
Does
if
it mean
didn't serve
bad?
its purpose,
It doesn't
then
mean
I would
bad.
more upset
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Like if it was completely like
Yeah.
it delivered on what you expect from
Right.
this type of movie, in the sense that it is generic. Like
It wasn't gratuitous. That's what
Exactly.
you
you
mean.
know what you're
Like
gonna
you
get.
could have guessed what the ending would have
Right,
been, and
right.
you're right, and it's just yeah. But
Right.
it,
It wasn't
nicely rated.
gratuitous, but it also wasn't bad. Like it's
Yeah.
But so there are rumors on there are
Rumors.
rumors that you guys could read this on the internet or wherever that Kurt Russell is actually the real director of this film. Like that this was like ghost
said that.
directed. No, yeah,
Yeah.
but I bring that up again just to point out this does feel like a movie that was directed by like an actor or whatever. It's not like maybe like
I
a
guess.
first time director or whatever, it's just like very kind of he's kind of borrowing a lot from other westerns that he had seen or grown up with and kind of recreating that and and I think
it didn't wow me. I don't know.
yeah, no, that's fair.
That's fair,
Like
Yeah.
I don't like this is why I had such a hard time with my fucking write up here. Like I feel fucking I have nothing in my thing. Like I couldn't come up with any questions. I only have one thing written down for favorite
That's fine, okay,
scenes.
that's
Like
fine.
it just didn't
I-
no part of it like blew my mind.
Can I ask you something, Julie? Do
Yeah.
you like Django Unchained?
I never watched it.
You never seen Django Unchained?
So this is the thing. Okay, so
I feel like you for westerns, you would like out of the box westerns.
Parth and I are
something
gonna
that's
have
kinda like playing around.
Tarantino week, and I have to watch all the Tarantino films to get them off
Yes,
the watch
Bart!
list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bart!
yeah.
Oh, is that his favorite filmmaker?
I don't know. I don't. He just
Why Tarantino?
we need to knock him off. That's what I'm being told.
Organize something where he comes on the show for Tarantino.
He's in. Trust me, he's in. He wants to, and I'll bring it up to the management. We'll see what happens. Okay.
Let's film
I'm
bro
just
it up. Let's
management.
film bro it up.
Yo, but I'm just curious, like, why did you land on Tarantino? Like, why did
Because
you land?
there's too many in the catalog that I haven't seen, and he's an important director. I think that's the vibe.
You
He
picked
looks
him or
cute
he
as a
picked
baby.
him?
I picked what?
You picked Tarantino or he picked Tarantino?
it.
He picked
did.
Tarantino.
Yeah.
It's
He's just like,
his
let's just
favorite
watch all-
director.
Oh, that is his favorite. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Like, is that
Yeah, and I've seen. I need to pull up the catalog to correctly, accurately represent. what I've
Russell's
actually
in some of his movies too, so
Yeah.
you're gonna see.
Yeah.
Remember, it's Kurt Russell this time.
I said that.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about
I've
her.
seen
She didn't know it was
Pulp
Kurt
Fiction.
Russell when she's watching the movie.
I thought you was gonna say flubbed Kevin
No,
Costner.
no,
Yeah,
I'm talking about Julie.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
like, I
he-
didn't.
He also appears in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, that's a
Was
great part. And Hateful Eight.
Death Proof and Hateful Eight.
Oh yeah, Death Proof. Yeah,
Which I
You know
like,
what?
I
He
like-
was good in that.
I
though.
like
would
that,
say
yeah, he's the best part of that movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've
Actually,
seen.
no, there are some hot chicks in that movie
Hold
too.
on.
Sure. Yeah.
I need
Oh,
to.
here we go again. He's lusting.
Yeah, bro, I can't say anything around
I've
this guy.
seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I've seen Inglorious Bastards. I've seen
Glorious Bastards.
Pulp
You've seen some good
Fiction.
ones. You've seen some good ones.
Yeah, you've seen Paul. I remember. Paul,
I've
yeah.
seen Jackie Brown. That's it.
Oh, yeah, you've seen some decent.
I've
ones.
never seen Kill Bill.
You might have seen majority of what people consider.
I
his
think
best
you would
movies, to
love
be
Kill
honest
Bill,
with you.
Julie. Knowing
It's on
your
the
ta-
list.
I think if I have a certain grasp of your
I
taste,
didn't know
I
he was a
think you really like
special guest
Kill Bill.
director on Sin City, but I've seen that.
Yeah, because that's Robert Rodriguez's buddy.
Okay.
That's
So
why,
I've never seen Kill Bill. I've never seen Death Proof. I've seen pieces of Death Proof, but I've never seen the whole thing. I've never seen Django. I've never seen Hateful Eight. There's another
What?
one missing.
Oh, there's
I've never seen Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you saw like more out of the box westerns, like westerns that weren't like conventional, I feel like this is a very conventional western. I think that's a better word than generic.
Yeah,
Conventional. That's a good.
It's
Yeah,
a very conventional western. And
I
so
agree.
with you. I
if
agree.
you saw more, like I think knowing maybe having a certain, I don't want to assume your taste, but having some grasp of your taste. I think if you saw some more playful ones, some more out of the box ones, I think you would gravitate towards those more.
Probably.
So, in terms of what I kind of disliked about this, one of the first notes I put down was again, I did like the intro with the bad guys. There's a couple things here I've already mentioned, but also, did you guys notice that in that like rogues gallery of like outlaw guys at the start there, that there's the guy with literally the shittiest mustache known to man. He's got like a piece of hair on two sides of his face and nothing in between. Did you see this guy?
Which one is that guy?
I don't even know where the actor is playing it, but he
It's called the
literally
reverse Hitler.
it's no, it's not even that, because yes, it is the reverse Hitler.
I really don't remember the names of a lot of these characters. Who's the guy in the
Michael
red shirt?
Rooker's there at the start.
Who was the red shirt one? Like who was, I guess, the leader?
Curly Bill.
That's
Curly
Bill. Yeah.
Okay, so then who's the drunk guy that's always
Ike.
hating? Ike.
Yeah.
Ike. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
his name.
So
Ike is a pussy. I hate Ike.
There's always a pussy that talks too much, and that's like the main character who's like the ultimate.
Ike
alpha male,
Canton
has
is
to,
the
like,
worst
straighten
part of the
him out,
movie.
you know?
He's such a bitch.
But the start is great because he's like, he sees those like whatever, like more like probably Mexican people. Like he's like gracias.
Yeah. That was brutal at the beginning. I was like, oh my God.
Like your Spanish is worse than your English.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like seeing Michael Rooker. The cast was a big highlight for me in this, and like I said, Val Kilmer. Unlike Julie in terms of the accent, I loved everything about the performance. I love the accent. I thought it was like I found myself literally saying lines as I was watching the movie for the first time, mind you, rewinding a couple of scenes just to hear him say stuff back.
Mhm.
It's honestly probably one of the best things I've ever seen of Val Kilmer. Actually, I really like
agree.
Too.
I'm glad you picked this as a highlight to him. Absolutely. And then even like somebody else I was telling you about that we were going to be watching this movie. You're like, oh, I love Tombstone. Like Val Kilmer's the best in that movie. Like, and the thing is though, like as good as he is, this is also a super strong Kurt Russell performance too. Kurt Russell was really good in this movie
Absolutely.
too. Like honestly, like there's a couple of scenes where he's overacting. Like after his brother died and he runs out in the rain, that was ridiculous. Yeah,
That was a lot.
wait for me. You know what
Well, think about it. Think about it. But if it was a
It's King of the
sibling, you probably
River,
would.
bro.
fuck
Get
it.
away from me! Can't you
There's
see?
There's like two specific scenes where he dials it up way too much.
I love
but
it, though.
otherwise, like it's great. No, it's good.
I
It's
love
good.
it.
Even those moments. Jay, what were you saying? You like that? You liked him freaking out? Like
Jay, I saw a
Think
3.5
about
star
it.
rating on Letterboxd. What's good, bro?
Yeah, no, but I
What
mean,
did you like? What
I,
did you like?
I like the whole. I mean, I like the whole film. I told you
I
from the
wasn't done,
beginning.
but
I like the
okay.
action.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
you
Jay.
must
Sorry.
not- yeah, I knew when to not speak, but then Max, decided to take charge there. So I decided.
Sorry,
go ahead.
no.
Go ahead.
No. I mean, I've basically said it in the beginning. I like the action. That first of all, the action and the storyline is the most relatable storyline to the real life story, the way it's played out, than any other Western movie I've seen. I've seen a few documentaries and stuff like that kind of depicted a little bit better. But I mean, honestly, between the two of them, and with the and the thing that everybody was saying that they didn't see enough of the villain. I mean, Doc Holliday technically in his earlier life is kind of a little bit of a villain himself, man. So for I mean, you not to
Pretty
see it. I mean, he
sinister.
was
Yeah, he is.
he
Like,
is.
he is.
He's
When he
evil.
introduced
He's
him.
evil. Yeah, he's evil. I mean, like it's just the way he is. And
But I like how they said it. They're like, Doc
Yes.
has his way of doing things, and so does
That's it.
Wyatt, but yet they're best friends or something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I just like, 'cause even with the intro, I mean, he's like flipping that coin around and he's like, like talking shit, gambling and stuff. I'm like, oh, this guy, I thought he was a bad guy at first. I'm like, well, he kind of is. Like you said, he's
yeah. It was before all this stuff and before he started he got in with Wyatt Earp and all that stuff. Yeah, he was almost kind of like chasing him down in that sense because he was his own little outlaw. I mean, he was going from town to towns too, and what do you think? He just got tuberculosis overnight? I mean, back then, yeah, you could probably just get it overnight, but I mean, at the end of the day, he
No, he was suffering from it the whole time.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
that's why they
Like,
said he moved to warmer weather or whatever, right? Because
yeah,
he was
it's a
dealing with
cough. It's all like through the skin. Like, it's a. I know
Is
the
that why they were
disease.
calling him Lunger?
Yeah,
Lunger, because of his
it's a lung.
lungs, right? Tuberculosis,
Yeah.
right? Or,
It's kind of fucked up how you think about it because of all how
that's a
how he
crazy
did pass
story.
away. You
But
know,
he drank and smoked like crazy.
yeah, and he
Like
was
they were
fucking.
saying
The
how,
Yeah.
doctor
like,
says don't sex, don't smoke, whatever. And the first thing he wants to do is have sex with his girl there,
yeah.
right? Like this is the first thing he's thinking about.
It's
You
true.
know?
This guy's about to die, and he's like, I don't think I should be living this type of lifestyle with you anymore. She's
We're
like,
gonna have to change the
yeah,
nature of our relationship.
Yeah.
like he's just like, and then she's just like, he's like, no,
He
doc,
just starts
that's not
rubbing his
happening.
crotch.
It's the only reason
Yeah.
I'm with you is because I like partying. And then you can just tell he's like, well, I might as well get killed in a shootout.
Yeah.
That's it, man. He knew, bro. He knew it was a
Yeah,
death
fuck
sentence.
weird.
It's
Yeah.
just they know. You know what I mean? Is back then there wasn't no antibiotics. I'm pretty sure, dude. Right? So
The doctor's telling him like you drink and smoke too much and you're gonna die in 2 weeks, and he's like, "Get out of my
here's
face."
some opium. But here's some
Yeah.
opium. Help yourself. Help yourself get through it. Here's some opium. Nowadays, yeah, same thing.
The only other thing I wanted to add though was that before I was rudely cut off.
Sorry. Oh my god, how many times I gotta
I'm just
apologize?
joking. No, it was interesting. As good of a cast as this was, though, it's an interesting period. I feel like for Billy Bob Thornton, because I would have thought he would have had a
Was
bigger
that
role
him?
in
Was
this.
that him?
Yes, the
Yeah,
scene.
it
couldn't
is.
tell if that was
He's
him or not.
chubbier. He's chubbier.
I'm like, is this Billy Bob or
Yeah.
some like no name that looks
He's
like
young.
Billy Bob?
It's
Like,
the first scene where Wyatt shows up to Tombstone.
I know the
and he
scene.
goes in the saloon there,
The
and he
casino.
busts him up his lip, and he goes to grab the shotgun. That's when Doc Holliday shows up and interferes. Right. But like, yeah, he kind of looks a little chubbier in the face, a little, and he also like,
He is.
yeah, he is, and also like, I would have thought that he would have had a much meatier role in this.
Is this before
right?
Billy Bob was a name?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking. Yeah, like it must have been early in his career because
I
like
didn't even know it
this
was him.
Yeah,
He's
because
not
like
a top. He's not
You
a
didn't
top
even know
guy.
it was Kurt Russell, Julie. Like,
Fucking, I don't know anything, dude. I noticed like Thomas Hayden Church before I fucking noticed.
no, yeah, he was in this too. Yeah,
I mean, the thing
he's
that should have
perfect for a
given
western.
there's a lot of different people in this though, but the thing that should have given it away is the classic Billy Bob. What did he say? Like, I shit you not? Are you shitting me? Yeah. he says,
you
like,
not,
you shit me? Yeah. He says, you
Yo,
shit me?
Thomas Hayden Church has the perfect voice for a western. Like, I want to know if he was in more of them.
Sam Elliott does. Sam
Yeah,
Elliott.
Sam Elliott for sure.
Sam Elliott should just literally be in every fucking
Yeah, he
Western,
kind of is
honestly.
low key.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Kurt Russell should be in every western too. Like, he's got.
That's what I meant. Like the casting was very smart.
On
in
point.
this. Yeah, on point for sure. Yeah.
Should we get into favorite scenes, or does anybody have any final?
Unless
finish your
Jay,
list.
yeah, unless Jay had anything else to say, I touched on everything I wanted to mention about likes and dislikes. I didn't really dislike much about this. Like I
No,
said,
me
I think
neither.
it served its purpose.
Me neither.
The only thing I'll say is what I'll agree with. I'll piggyback on what you said about like the fact that it's not basic, but what'd you call
Conventional.
it? Yeah, conventional. The way that this movie was approached,
Which a lot of movies used to be like that. They weren't like, it was just they were all following kind of a similar formula.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie does, which is not a bad thing at all. I think because now we have so many movies and we've gone so deep into the history of cinema that now everyone has to be kind of like go for outside of the box kind of thinking.
Right.
So it's refreshing. That's why I was watching this movie and I felt like refreshed. I was like, okay, wow, this is not something I'm gonna have to like deep dive into anything. It's just
absolutely
I just like take it for face value.
Yeah. Jay, anything else? Likes,
I was just looking here at Billy Bob. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's considered, or nothing before it is really noticeable.
Did he do
that he's
Sling
done.
Blade yet at this point?
He just before
was that
this, he was
96, I think that
he
was
was in
96.
Indecent Proposal in this one. In this
Okay.
year, right?
So Sling
And-
Blade came after this then. Because I
Oh,
think that's when he
everything
really
after
popped off, I think, was that, right?
Yeah, some folk. Yeah, all this flounder. Yeah, Sling Blade. Some folks call it Sling Blade, right?
When did he do that?
96, I believe, right?
94. 94.
Oh, so
94.
right after this then. Okay.
Right after. And the Sling Blade itself, there's another one, 96. That the other one was something else prior,
Okay.
before Sling Blade. I don't know what the heck
Okay.
that was. It wasn't a TV or a documentary series, but it's under his listing here. It's some folk. Oh, it's just a short.
Okay.
It was just a short. So yeah, then Sling Blade, and then everything came after that.
Okay, so yeah, we can get into scenes if you want to get us started then.
Yeah. So favorite scene. It's so funny you brought up that Billy Bob, because that was like was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Was
good
when
one.
he slaps that bitch around and like he goes into the casino, into the saloon, sorry, and he like talks with the owner and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And so then Billy Bob is in the corner causing a scene, just this rowdy guy. And then Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp comes up to him and is like, "Just sitting in my chair," and they just get into this whole like standoff, and he starts slapping him over and over again, and you're gonna stand, you're gonna stand there and do something. No, he's gonna do. Are you gonna do something? You're just gonna stand there and bleed, and then he throws him out of the saloon. And then like the following scene afterwards, when that guy is like, because he's a hater, right? He's so mad, and he's like, he feels probably emasculated and shit. So he gets the shotgun, ready to blow this guy. I don't think he was actually gonna go through it. I think he was a pussy, kind of like.
Yeah.
I don't think he was gonna go through it, but he's got this like look on his face like he's about to do something. And then Val Kilmer's like, "Hey," like he interrupts it or whatever. And then they get into like a conversation. The guy's just standing there
Doc
with the
Holliday calls him out,
Yeah.
and then he's like, "Doc, I didn't know you were in town."
Yeah.
And then he says hello. He's like, "Hey, Wyatt." And he's like, "Wyatt Earp." He's like, "Oh no!" Right? He's like,
shits his pants, bro.
Because there's even a part when he goes into the saloon. And he's like, "Hey, I'm Wyatt Earp," and he's like, "Yeah, sure, buddy."
Yeah. He's a legend,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
nobody believes that like this is actually like
Sure
the real
you
life.
are. Yeah.
This guy's a walking legend.
Yeah.
Probably maybe the most famous man in the West at that point, probably, right?
Plus, you
for
gotta
sure.
remember, they only had people's pictures literally drawn on like wanted
Yeah,
shit back
good
then.
point.
You didn't actually know what these guys looked like. So you could literally go around and your history like preceded you, like
Your
in terms of
legend.
the legend, the stories, right? And that's why, like, even at the end when he gives him that little book that he wrote, My Friend Doc Holliday, like that's you used to get like manuscripts, like things like that from people back in the day or whatever they're called, like just little books
Yeah.
that they would write about the legends of these people, right? Like
Right,
to
right.
carry on the stories. And then obviously sometimes throughout the times the stories would get more ridiculous
Yeah,
and made up, right?
right.
Like that's the other thing. Sometimes they're
Mythologized.
preceded them in that sense. Yeah, exactly. Like
so this guy's
some
probably
revisionist history
he's
type
probably
stuff
the
going
most
on.
famous person out after the president, probably in that time, probably I would assume. And anyways, this guy's just holding the shotgun on the street, and he's like, "Yeah, you could go now." Like they just totally like
that
shoot
part.
him down. It was so funny. That's one of my that's a favorite
Nice.
scene of mine.
My favorite scene probably is it's not really, it's like probably like there's a couple of different points towards the end where you feel like it's gonna like finish, but it's the scene where Doc is on it seems like his deathbed. And I thought this was very smart of them because there's so many movies where this happens. I love the choice that he left him there. It seemed like seemingly to die, like he was going to die there. It seemed like the guys were going to watch over him, but he's like sick and he's dying, it seems. And then he leaves him, Wyatt Earp, to go kill Johnny Ringo. And then instead he goes and beats him to Johnny Ringo,
Yeah.
and takes him out himself. And then he ends up walking into the situation after he's already killed him, and he threw that deputy badge on him, saying, "Oh, I can legally kill you." I actually really love that a lot, like how the lead up to that happened, because there's so many movies where that would have happened and he would have left him there and he would have had to go and do the final showdown. But the fact that he went ahead of him, killed the guy because he had the personal vendetta with him, then turned around and said, "I wasn't as sick and I was letting on. Let's go finish what we started now." And then they go and kill a bunch of more people. I love that. I love that part about the movie. For me, this worked so well. Like I love that.
My only question is, how on earth did he get there before Wyatt? Like the guy's sick and he also left first. That was just like, that was crazy. But no, that was a good reveal.
I just thought that was so fucking cool when and then like he talks shit to the guy even after. He's like, "Yeah, I'm your Huckleberry." He comes out from like the shadows. And he's like smoking. He's like, "You actually showed up." Like John Ringo, he's like, "Oh no, it's you." Like, they have the showdown. I loved it, man.
Yeah.
I was gritting from ear, as you can tell. I'm still gritting. It was just so good for me. I was just like, because he didn't go out like that. He did ultimately at the end. He did. But they had that nice little moment where he's like, "Yeah, you're my only friend," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if you ever felt feelings toward me, I don't want you to see me like this, like leave me kind of thing,
Right.
right? He gave him a little book. All that last
So
like
sad.
15 minutes of the film or whatever, even that last
That's another
half
great
hour
scene.
stretch, like from the start of the bloodbath. This is a 2-hour film, right? Just 2 hours and 10 minutes. That last half hour of the movie is probably my favorite part of the film.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies that like it's all payoff at the end, essentially,
sure.
for the character's story. So
But that scene that you talk about with when Val meets up with Johnny Ringo,
yeah,
that's like a callback to an earlier scene when they had like their little showdown
Yeah.
and they're in the street and
he's flipping
the
guns.
pistol. So that was like a nice kind of like
I-
callback to that. And
yeah,
I'm your Huckleberry. And
yeah. I loved it.
so that was a great scene. Yeah, I
Loved
like
it.
that scene a lot too.
Oh, the Leafs just won an OT.
Yay, nice. I'm paying attention to it too.
How about you, Julie?
I only wrote down the scene at the where Curly Bill and Ike come up to like the poker table and they do the whole pistoleering bit. Yeah, that was all I wrote down for scenes.
Yeah, I love
That
it.
was good. When he does the cup, when
Yeah.
Doc
Yeah.
does the cup and uses
Yeah.
the cup, it's
Loved
fucking
it.
smart ass. Yeah.
Do you want my lines too?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Throw them out.
One of them was a Kurt Russell overacting moment where he's running around in the river just shouting no as
Yeah,
he shoots
that's
everyone. That made me laugh so hard.
That's the part I was referring to.
No, as he's just
I
pinging
don't
him
even
off.
understand what that scene like. What did he understand? Like,
Who
what did
was
he
he talking?
realize?
Like, what was he knowing at? My other line was the bit about Doc Holliday's chick there when he says that she might be the Antichrist. 'Cause she's
Yeah, that
sucking
was a
his
good one.
dick. I just found in place of my scenes and lines because I have dog shit here for anything. Did you know that Wyatt Earp's like fifth cousin is in the movie and his name is Wyatt Earp?
Oh wow.
No, I didn't know
No, I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like scrolling through the credits when you guys were talking about Billy Bob Thornton, and I was like featuring Wyatt Earp as Billy Claiborne. I was like, what the fuck? And I clicked on it, and it's Wyatt Earp the third, but he is the fifth cousin of historical figure Wyatt Earp.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
just a nice little tidbit of trivia for the movie.
Jay, how about you? Favorite scene?
You know what, man? I like when Doc's in there first when he's playing the cards, like Julie was saying, like, but when he's first playing the cards and he's taking everybody for their money
Mm-hmm.
and they're thinking he's cheating, then he puts his guns on the table, like
The
that
opening scene to Doc Holliday. You're talking about the first one. Yeah.
the opening scene, right, to Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, there's a shitload in between. One of the other favorite scenes was like, cause I just like taking like little snippets, because if not, I'm gonna write a whole fucking paragraph down. But so the scene where it just solidify at the end where they're playing their last hand of cards, Doc and Wyatt, where they're just sitting there and doing their last playing their last hand while he's up on bed rest or whatever.
Yeah.
And he take sitting there talking and taking that just, it's one of the quiet. It's probably, I know I like the action in the movies, but it's one of the quieter moments in the movies that kind of really solidifies their friendship and their relationship.
Mhm.
And just a little conversation in between them both really put it into perspective in the sense of because their relationship, they're always like buddy. It was always Doc talking more, a lot of stuff more bigging up Wyatt more than anything, talking about him because he was the shooter type, right? But then when they were sitting there and he knew he was on his his last thing. It was just it was like a really solidifying moment for me, like just to show that there's still some decency even among what do they say, among thieves?
Yeah.
In a sense,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So it's pretty good. That was one of my scenes. What else did I have?
How about
I
the
got
big
one more
gun
line.
down? The big
Big one, yeah. Okay,
at the OK Corral, and
yeah.
kind of like what
That
the
was
movie
one-
was.
But that's gone down in history as probably the best
yeah.
shoot of all time, like the best gun
Yeah.
of all time.
That was great when he showed up and he got the shotgun at first, Doc Holliday. Then he came out with the dual pistols. Like,
Yeah.
That was
You
pretty
don't fuck
sick.
with Doc. You don't fuck with Doc.
Doc
He's
is
too
the
good.
man, bro.
Bro, this guy's switching guns like in the middle of the gunfight. It was
like
insane.
Call of Duty,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But for me, like I said, the first like the last half hour when it first as soon as the brother dies, there's like a great montage of like literally Kurt Russell is like busting through glass on horseback shooting a guy. Then he goes to the opium den. The guy goes for like he goes for like the pipe, and it's the gun barrel. He shoots the guy in the mouth, and then there's Doc Holliday on the horseback, and he gun butts a guy in the face with his rifle. Like it's like all these great like cuts of
Right.
them just kicking the shit out of people, and then like Doc Holliday when they go into like they catch one of the guys with like in like a whorehouse or something, and they catch him, and then like the guy's like it's like, don't move. He's like, yeah, go ahead. And he's like, move, like whatever. He's like, yeah, try it or whatever. And he just shoots the guy sitting there on the bed, right? I love that montage of everyone just getting their ass kicked there towards the end. I mean, that's still part of like what I said earlier, but it's the first part of it after the OK Corral kind of scene where he really gets revenge, because at that point it seems like he's going to still try to attempt to settle down, right? But then these guys just start all this shit in the town and kill his wife eventually, right? So yeah.
Anytime you see like guys staring down each other, that's like my favorite parts of this movie. Like,
but that's what I mean too. Like even with the Doc Holliday and what's his name? When they had the shootout there, what the fuck's Johnny Ringo?
Mm-hmm.
Right? When they had the shootout there, just the way they stare each other down, and they, the Doc's touching Val Kilmer's fucking tapping the gun, just like it's nothing. And Buddy goes, you see a paw, and he's already got his guns up, boom, one right in the head, and back in his pocket before the guy even falls to the ground. Like, come,
You know what's another one I really like? When I guess it was Curly Bill, he accidentally kills the sheriff. What was the guy?
Sheriff.
The old man.
Sheriff.
The sheriff.
Yeah. Well, he's the deputy. Sorry,
the deputy.
Yeah.
He accidentally kills him because he's drunk or whatever. And I don't even think he means to kill him.
No, he's high off opium.
Opium. And then
that's the one where he's howling at the moon, no?
Yeah.
He starts shooting like all over the middle of the town. The guy's like, "Oh, I guess I got to go out," because he looked at Wyatt Earp, and at this point, he's just like, "Yeah, no, that's your deal, right?" And
that's your deal, man.
So he gave him the guns like this, and he like lifts one of them and shoots it with it, right?
Yeah.
When he goes to like grab them from him. That guy was just old though.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't know what was going on. That day.
He needs to die so that the real guy could come in and take care of business. So then it's like the sacrificial lamb or whatever. And then the guy like Wyatt, I guess, is trying to apprehend him, and then all the gang is like, let him cut him loose, and like all that shit, right? And then the guy's coming towards him, and then Wyatt Earp pulls the gun and points it at his forehead, and you could just see the fear like on his face. He's like, "Oh shit!" And he's like, "Oh, this guy's gonna kill me," and he starts like kind of like sweating a lot and stuff. And I really like that. Like I guess another thing I'm noticing about this movie is like the theme of like justice, kind of like these guys, these brothers. I guess they were previously lawmen, and they had retired, and they don't want to do that anymore. But then the older brother,
they just want to get rich.
They just want to get rich. They want to get money. They're thinking of schemes how to get paid. And
they want to buy the town. They want to buy at least a bar or whatever,
Silver
right?
Boom there.
Silver Boom, yeah.
So
and
that's why they move there. I mean, even when he gets off the train, they're trying to like recruit him.
Yeah.
And he says that, and he's like, "Oh, every rich guy, they have all this regret or something." Like, what did he say? Like, he says something like basically like that, like, and he's like, "I already have
guilty conscience."
Yeah. He's like, "I already have a guilty
all rich men have a guilty conscience."
It's like, I'm just care about being rich now.
I just want the money now. Yeah. So he's kind of like more on that kind of vibe. And then, but the older brother, it's always the older brother. He sees all the violence happening and sees all this lawlessness happening, and he can't stand for it. And so he kind of takes it upon himself. He's like, "I'm going to be the sheriff or the lawman of this town." And then, because he does it, all the other younger brothers kind of have to follow suit, and they have to kind of, they follow in those steps. And Wyatt Earp is the one that shows the most resistance to that. He doesn't want to do that anymore. He's kind of done with that. But because Sam Elliott is on that, he gets thrusted into that. And I guess that's sort of another theme in this movie is like, when you see wrong happening, you can't really look the other way. Sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah,
it's really hard sometimes because you can do something about it.
Well, you said you've never seen Unforgiven, right?
No, I really want to.
So Unforgiven, there's a very similar theme in that one where he basically is also retired. He's not a hitman anymore.
Clint Eastwood's character.
And it's the same thing. people seek him out, and he has to once again go and deal with something because he sees somebody get hurt that doesn't deserve what's happening to them, and he's like, okay, I'll do it one last time, right? So
when you have the ability to do it, you know,
yeah.
it's
So
kind of like
it's one of those things, right?
great
Like,
power comes great responsibility kind of thing.
Yeah,
one of the sickest scenes though is just a second. Wyatt Earp, he goes for his gun that's in the drawer, and it says on the gun, on the handle of the gun, it says Wyatt Earp, Peacemaker on the gun, and I'm just like, yo, that is badass. Yeah. So I don't know, it's really cool. And then there's another thing I didn't like notice. I don't know. I guess I didn't know this was possible. There can be thunderstorms without rain. Remember that whole thunderstorm sequence? There's just a lot of lightning just crashing down, but there's no rain. And I was just like, oh wow, I guess maybe even more drier climates. I guess that occurs.
No, we get that here.
We get that here too. Oh,
sometimes
okay.
it's rare.
It's rare.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh wow, that's. Sorry, what did you say, Jay?
There's a song about it too. The thunder comes before the rain.
Thunder comes. Yeah, Fleetwood Mac.
Kind of helps if you like move your hands away from your face when you're talking to the mic. By the way.
Okay, the mic is over here. My hands are over here.
Oh my god,
they're not even in front of my face, bro.
But that scene with the lightning is another great scene when Virgil gets shot, and that's that whole sequence of them. You already know something bad is gonna happen because like the lightning is just sort of like a foreshadowing of that. Like, and so that's another good sequence that I really like. Yeah.
The only other one I wrote down was that I really enjoyed the theater part with seeing all the bad guys hanging out.
Oh my god, that pissed me off.
It was funny because not only were they throwing shit at the performers and stuff like that, just being assholes. There's a guy literally spitting in a spittoon while he's
just these unruly.
You can hear the spit hit the bucket. I'm just like, oh, this guy's just straight up using a spittoon, bro. That was awesome. I love that. It was like such a signifier of the time.
Yo, these guys are just shooting guns in the air in this open. It's just like, bro, is anybody gonna do anything?
They're dicks. They're outlaws.
They're complete dicks.
Outlaws.
Just ruining the fun for everyone.
They're just starting.
What about Billy Zane? We talk about him like this actor, and I guess you know, and he's like this pretty boy, and
oh yeah,
that is a Shakespeare. Yeah, it was Billy Zane from Titanic.
Yeah, that part I didn't care about.
And then what is that? What is
you
that?
Killed the only thing good in this world. All he was trying to do was put something good out in the world. You killed him. And that's the other thing too.
Was that guy gay? The one with the glasses?
That's what I thought too.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I think he was gay for him, but that wasn't Billy the Kid though, was it?
No.
I don't know what his character was. The one with the glasses.
Young Guns is about Billy the Kid, right? Then that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are you talking about? Jason Priestley over there in this one?
No, Billy Zane. The guy, there's that guy with the glasses that's kind of with the outlaw group, but he seems like to be like one of the more pretty boy, smart guys that's part of the group, right? And then there's the other dude that was one of the performers that like even when he started singing or whatever, he was like, oh, this guy sings beautifully or whatever. He's
getting shot at. He doesn't care. He's just dusting. He's just.
Oh, this is the guy. This is the guy that throws. What does he say? Like juggle stuff or whatever, and he shoots the bottom.
Like they're actually shooting at me.
No, he's like, this is the guy that catches stuff. Catch this. He shoots the bullet.
Yeah. He's like, they're shooting, and he just runs off stage.
Yeah, they're assholes for sure. I mean, that's the whole point, right? So that's the only other part I put down. Also, any part that Val Kilmer talked. Also, any part they're on horses,
straight up, man.
And the triumphant music starts playing, bro. That's that's
the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of like the romance angle in this movie? Did you guys? You didn't like it?
Nah, listen.
When they're talking in the.
I gotta say,
the romance in the
you could have taken all of the love interest shit out of it.
But you have to have that.
You have to have a little bit, but it matters none to me in this movie. It matters.
You have to have romance in
right, Jay? Right?
It was kind of the same.
I don't even think
villain angle. Like it wasn't fleshed out enough. I think.
I don't really understand what the attraction. They just looked at each other and because she was a famous actress or something. What was she? What was her profession? Like the brunette.
I don't.
She was some famous person.
Those were the most boring parts to me. I'm just gonna be honest. The most boring parts for me.
He's like, what do you want? And she's like,
can we
room
shoot
service.
Somebody already? Like, what's going on here? Like,
she's just like a thespian, like whatever. She's just like an actress.
But I get it though. Like his current wife is like an opioid head, an opium head.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's nothing there. So he's obviously like looking for something else, right? So.
Yeah,
I thought it was just I don't know. I thought it was cute. When he's just like she's like he's like, what do you want? And she's like, I want room service or something. Like,
yeah. Yeah,
And then he goes to his wife that same night and he's like, how about we order room service?
The best part is at the end, though. He's like, I'm rich, Wyatt. He's like,
Yeah, that was the
Yahoo!
best. He's like, I don't know what we're going to do for money. He's like, Wyatt, I'm rich.
Yeah.
What every man wants to hear, right?
Let's dance in the snow.
It's like
It's a
now this is a
Christmas
happy
movie.
ending. Now they truly did live happily
They
ever after.
literally should have just ended it and explained what happened in that scene like they did with the rest of the
That
stuff.
reminds me of that Dave Chappelle thing where he's like, I'm rich, bitch.
Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna do about money, but I'm gonna marry you. I'm rich, Wyatt. Yeah.
Like that, I come from money.
Yeah.
We're good. That was the best quote.
It's just like my family's wealthy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is like one of those, like, even though there's a lot of women characters in this, not strong character defined. Like you guys said about the fleshed out of the character, I would argue the women were even less fleshed out than the bad guys. Personally, like
Agreed.
If this was like a letterbox review, it would have been like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, the greatest gay couple, or some shit. Like, you know, something. That was the real romance of this movie, right? Like,
well, there was a bromance for sure. There was definitely a bromance.
no, but anytime like two males show any like slight
in
affection,
Letterboxd, that's in the review.
it's like, oh, they're automatically gay. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just-
Of course, there's always
You
a gay
know,
subtext to everything, Max.
I had
fuck
a
that.
review to put on. I was going to put on, and I had to hold my review back from Letterbox just in case, you know, they don't let me back on there. A great time for the old white men, right?
That's probably another like.
Nobody cared. That's
Oh.
what it was back then. They didn't care about relationship. They pretended they did, and at the end of the day, these guys didn't give a fuck. It was a
Yo,
different
so
time.
was the Oriental, was that like a Chinese run spot or something? Because I could have swore like when they go out into the thunderstorm, both Wyatt and Virgil are eating like noodles or something. That looked like,
I didn't catch that.
yeah, it looked like they were eating noodles. So I was like, he's like feeding the dog. Remember, he's feeding the dog. Like
There
noodles.
was some like Asian people here. and there
Yeah,
back
so I was
then.
like, oh,
Yeah,
was that like it was like
it
an
wasn't
Asian?
common though. Yeah.
But you notice that a lot in westerns.
like
There's always like an
Mandarin,
Asian
bro.
establishment in
Yeah.
westerns. I noticed that. Like,
Yeah.
that's like a common thing. That's
How do you think they got the opium?
How do you think they got the railroads?
Good point. Good point. Good point.
How do you think they got the railroads?
The Vietnamese. I mean, that's the right. I believe
This
that's
is
where they
telling
come
you,
from.
buddy.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I
The
mean,
the
honest.
railroads. Yeah, I mean that is the
Yeah,
truth.
railroads.
Yeah, that is. The
I
truth.
guess-
Yeah.
No, they probably
there
had
any other-
manuals back then.
Is there any other like quotes that we didn't say that you guys want to draw?
Oh, we didn't even touch on quotes. These are all scenes. Let's touch on quotes then. Yeah.
These are all scenes. Like, there's no fucking.
I mean, Julie put hers
We
out.
kind of were like throwing quotes.
We
while we're
were.
doing the
We were.
scenes,
I got
so-
a couple though. I got a couple of dandy ones.
My only other one I came up with while we were talking was that bit where Doc Holliday is playing the piano. And I think Thomas Hayden Church comes over to start chirping some shit about he should play this, he should play that, whatever. And he was like, well, this is a nocturne. Frederick fucking Chopin. And I was like,
That's
that's
right,
funny.
Yeah.
It's a great
That
one.
was to the music nerds, for sure.
Like you uneducated fucking idiot. Yeah.
No, but like later in like when they go outside and they have this whole like showdown outside, doesn't he say to that guy like, "Oh, it's the music lover" or whatever? Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
for not knowing who Chopin was. So.
yeah.
Okay, so here's some of my quotes. This is all Val Kilmer lines pretty much too. Oh,
Can I do one before
Go
you?
ahead, go
Because
ahead,
like
yeah,
you're probably gonna say a bunch.
Yeah.
No, because I only just have one that I really liked because the whole theme of the movie is that for Wyatt Earp is that he wanted like a regular life. He's like, I just want a normal life. And then Doc Holliday says, there's no normal life, Wyatt. There's just life. Get on with it. And that's one of my favorite lines in the movie. So go ahead, Nico.
My favorite is when he kills Johnny Ringo and then and then Wyatt Earp shows up. He's like, I'm afraid the strain was more than he could bear. I wasn't quite as sick as I made out. I love that he says the strain was too much for him. He's like,
You know what I'm noticing? Jonah Hill from The Beach Bum was
Yes.
probably an influence. Like Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday was probably
Pulitzer.
Pulitzer, motherfucking Pulitzer. It's probably an influence.
That
Like
mother,
this
he was doing a southern kind of
gentleman
type
kind of
voice.
thing. Yeah.
My hypocrisy only goes so far.
Just remembering that movie, that character now.
And then I'm her Huckleberry, of course, but
What was that line in that movie, bro?
Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave. Now I'm a U.S. Marshal. I can legally kill you. And he shoots him right in the head. Come on, you're no Daisy.
No. From the beach bum, he's like, it's been ages and I ain't getting no pages. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
Still remember that one.
Jay?
All right. When Doc's like, "Oh, Johnny," you see when he's got the guy beside him. "Oh, Johnny, I forgot you. I forgot you were there. You may go."
Yeah.
You know, he's just in the middle of a conversation. He was just standing right here beside him. But when remember, it's part of the scene too that I was talking about with Doc and thing too, right? Because it's how are you, right? When the Doc comes in, he goes, "I'm dying. How are you?" You know, he's straight up.
Yeah.
Being honest, like there's a relationship thing I like between the two of them. That's why those two, they have a lot of dialogue together.
Yeah.
In certain, you know,
All right.
and it's always the Doc with the wisecracks.
And when he first meets like Johnny Ringo, and he's just like sweating his fucking ass off in that scene there when he's spinning all the cups and all that. But he's like, reminds me of me. No, I'm sure of it. I hate him. And then he's like, and then he starts speaking Latin to him. That's Latin, darling. Evidently, Mr. Ringo's an educated man. Now I really hate him.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when they're sitting there
shootout.
playing cards, man. When they're sitting there playing cards and they're getting what? Clayton, what's his name? Mike says, "What is that? Is that
Be my friend no more, right?
12 hands in a row? What
Yeah.
now? That's 12 hands in a row. Holiday, son of a bitch. Nobody's that lucky, right?" He goes, "Why, Ike? Whatever do you mean?" You know, I just was,
Yeah,
"Ike,
maybe
what do
poker's
you
not your
mean?
thing, Mike.
Yeah.
Let's have a spelling contest."
Yeah.
No, you know, there's actually like a truthism in that because earlier in the movie, Kurt Russell's like he's like talking to Doc Holliday. He's like "Oh, you always said gambling was like a noble endeavor or whatever," and the guy says not gambling but poker, because you know poker is actually the only game in a casino where you actually control your own odds. It's not gambling technically; it's like an actual
No.
skill
if
game.
you're using 5 cards,
Yeah, so yeah, it is like a skill thing. So you could actually beat someone 12 hands in a row, like in poker. Like that's a real thing. But I don't know, like if they're doing some shit. But one of the one scene that I really like was I guess it was like the mayor. It's so hard for me to like all these characters, they just come and go. It's hard for me to remember what position they were in. But this mayor, he's like walking around with them and he's like, "Oh yeah, Tombstone, you know, in a couple of years it's gonna be like San Francisco. This is like a real this is a real sophisticated town." And then a gunfight happens like across the street.
Cosmopolitan.
A rare cosmopolitan. And then the two guys that come out of the bar, one of them has his ear missing because it's been shot off. And Wyatt Earp is like, "Hey, Mayor, I'd like to introduce you," or was it Wyatt or Doc? One of them was like, "Hey, Mayor, I'd like you to introduce you to two socialites, two sophisticants or whatever." And he like introduces them. That was a really funny scene.
You retiring? Not me. I'm in my prime.
I'm in my prime.
Yeah, you look at it. He's like sweating. He looks like he's gonna collapse, like he's been awake for fucking 3 days. He's just drunk.
What about when him and his after the doctor comes in and tells him, you know, just to get some bed rest and whatever? Because I'm pretty sure it was in that scene there. But Doc says, "Yeah, it's true. You are a good woman," he says to her. And again, you may be the anarchist.
Antichrist.
Antichrist, sorry. I can't even read.
Actually, one of the bit more important quotes of the movie, actually, that wasn't said by Val Kilmer, is was said by Morgan when he's dying. He says, "Remember what I said about seeing a light when you're dying?" And then Wyatt's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "It ain't true. I can't see a damn thing." And then he just dies,
So
right?
sad.
Like in his arms, yeah. Because he tells him that he was reading up on it in a book previous to that, right? Like when they're all out together. And then there's also you smell that, Bill? Smells like someone died.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. While his dead brother's in the thing.
And then he literally just looks over at them. He's
he wanted to shoot him,
I'm
bro.
gonna come for you, motherfuckers. Like,
he wanted
that's
to
why
him.
there's the bloodbath, like right after. He's just like, "Oh yeah, okay." He's like, "Today's a day of peace and remembrance, but I'm coming for you." Like he literally just looks at it like that.
You know what? You know what's also like a great quality about Wes? Like we kind of mentioned it about earlier, but I'm just gonna like say it again. The total concept of like lawlessness, even in the characters, it's like the ones who run the law are like the ones who can. And there's this one scene when the mayor's coming out. He's like, all of y'all are arrested or whatever after the gunfight at the OK Corral. He's like, all of y'all are arrested, and he's pointing to like the lawmen as well. And then Wyatt Earp is like, oh, you're not arresting me today or whatever. It's like, I'm not gonna get arrested today. He like just like throws him off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? That
Yeah.
scene where he's just like, "You're not gonna arrest me today,"
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
It's just like, whoa.
They need him.
It's like if I don't. It's like I don't feel arrested, so you're not arresting me. It's just like, I don't know. That's just some like that's some top man shit to be
Next
honest.
level shit. No,
That's some next level shit.
Well, an enchanted moment. Just love this. Like, all right, I could go on all day.
How lewd.
Yeah.
Right? Not wearing your bustle or whatever. How lewd.
Wait,
As soon as he sees that woman, he's like, "Well, I'll be damned." He's like, "You
Yeah.
may indeed if you get lucky."
yeah. I was gonna say, just say that. You may indeed if you get lucky.
So what does "I'm
The
your
way he says
Huckleberry"
it, dude.
mean? What does that even mean? I'm your Huckleberry.
Huckleberry Finn. This. You
Yeah.
don't worry about
That's-
So what does that
Finn.
even mean?
Tom
Like, what does
Sawyer
it
and
mean?
Huckleberry
Like, I'm your
Finn.
man. Like, I'm your guy.
Yeah, that's what I took it as. But even me, I'm just like, it just sounded sick. I just thought
I'm
it
your
was cool.
Huckleberry.
Yeah. I'm this bitch.
You know,
I'm
like
your Huckleberry.
the
Daddy.
story of Tom Sawyer, right?
Yeah, I'm your daddy, bitch. That's basically what it's saying.
Very cosmopolitan.
Very
All right.
cosmopolitan.
Yeah, let's move
I
on.
didn't even know that word was around back then. Cosmopolitan,
Only for sophisticants. That's
sophisticates.
yeah, I think that's it. I don't got anything else. You guys? No, I think we said them all.
I'm rich, right? My
Uh,
family's wealthy.
All right. So questions. Did anybody have any unique questions for
Oh.
this one?
No.
Did anybody catch how? I only got one. Did anybody catch how Doc said that the only time he was in love with was when he was 15 with his cousin?
Oh my
That is-
god!
Yeah.
I thought that was a
I totally
weird
forgot
place
about
to
that.
throw that in right at the end. I was like, why does he have to tell him that now?
That's
Like,
some real.
and then Wyatt's like, yep, all right, I'll see you later.
We'll see
That's
you later.
some
Oh, you
real,
have to
like,
confess.
you only. That's some real. You only confess at your deathbed.
That's
type
like a
shit.
Kanye West tweet or something.
I was about to bring that up.
Why did Kanye want to bang his cousin too?
Did you not hear about this?
Did you not see his Twitter thing?
I'm
Recently-
trying to
the
black
fuck?
out all Kanye
You're
shit.
lucky if you blacked it out. Recently, he just put out a tweet saying that he sucked his cousin's dick till he was
Until he
14.
was 14.
Bro, he's trolling, bro. That
Good
he's
job,
trolling.
buddy. Good job.
He's like, my new song's called Cousins. It's about me and my cousin. where I
You know
sucked
what?
his dick
You know
till I
what?
was 14.
Well, if it's true, that explains a lot.
Right?
He'll
That's-
say anything to get this album.
That doesn't atone him for all his like bullshit. Like that doesn't make it okay. But
He will say anything to get this album some buzz. What the fuck, man?
Pretty much. That's all it is. I just found it hilarious. I was like, what the hell?
fuck
I'm
Kanye.
waking
I don't
up-
care if I'm not invited to Chicago. I don't
I'm
give a
waking
fuck.
up. I'm waking up on Easter. I'm hearing the Pope died, and then I see Kanye tweet out that he was sucking
Something
his-
whack trying to steal the
I'm
headlines.
so glad I'm not on social media like that. Holy shit, that's terrible.
That's why I
but
got off of it, bro, for shit like that, dude.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And they
honestly,
send
like,
them all kinds of weird shit.
yeah, honestly, like obviously back then it was more common for you like to be
It
with like a
was.
second cousin and all that and everything else, but like the fact that he said it in that moment though, like I get the point they were trying to come across like saying that he never like fell in love with anybody because Wyatt was gonna go off and be with the person he loved and all that, but like it was just a weird thing to throw in right at the end. Like, did
Yeah.
you really have to mention it was your
I
cousin?
wonder if
Like,
that's like a real life
Probably,
thing he
yeah,
said,
yeah.
and they're
wasn't-
just trying to stay true to that, you
Right,
know.
right, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, I'm not like disgusted because I knew it happened then, like whatever. But like, it's more like it's just a weird time to put
it's
that out there.
especially
I
like a
was
movie
just
coming
like,
out in the 90s. you know.
Yeah, and then he's like gives him that book, and he's like, "All right, I'll see you around." Like, my
Is
best
it more
friend.
like
It's a beautiful scene though. Like,
Oh,
when
I
he's
love it.
crying.
But just this, why throw that in?
Yeah,
it just seemed
it's,
like just seemed.
No,
I
man,
I
no,
was
but
like, whoa, what
it's-
the hell?
that solidified that they were more like a family than anything. They were more like family. He was more like family to him, you know, than anything.
I just didn't think it was necessary. That's why I'm like, did that actually happen? That was literally my only question.
There's
you
probably
guys-
a lot of
you
stuff
said
in that.
right? Yeah.
What did he say to him? He's like, "You're the only person who never let me down," or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
No,
That's a great quote, too.
And then he says, like, if you have ever had a feeling for me, like, leave me now. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want you to see me like this,
Yeah.
essentially, right? Like, I it was a great scene. It just that was the only thing where, and then like literally, like he mentions it, and he's like, yeah, all right, like. it just moves on. It's like,
He was 36 years old when he died. The real Doc Holliday.
Yeah,
Very young.
Well, back then though, like 50
People
was
died,
old, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
15 years old, yeah, bro. That's why
50
he
was
died.
old back then, right? Like you had like a
If
lot
you
of
wouldn't
people
even
died of
survive to 50,
Yeah.
right?
man.
Yeah, well, Sam Elliott is
old.
probably the oldest guy in this movie, right?
And he was only portraying a character that was 44.
right. And then what? Legacy. I think it's pretty obvious, right? Like
A great Val
Here we go.
Kilmer
Yeah.
performance.
I think
Great. Oh, you know what's funny? This movie's actually really beloved by people. Like I didn't even know this movie, so I don't
beloved
know.
by me now. I like it a lot.
I like it too. No, it's just like this was like I was reading on the Wikipedia page. It was like, oh, this is like voted one of the best westerns of all time for people, and like this is like a real cult following type of movie. So I guess that's legacy. Is like it's endeared for people. For a lot of people who've seen it, they love it. You know?
Yeah, I only got to watch this one once, and then I watched a couple of scenes back.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to rewatch. In the future, I would like to revisit this.
Yes, that's what I was
yeah.
gonna say. I think that's the biggest takeaway I took from this is that it makes sense that people like him in this role. It makes sense why this is one of his most beloved characters. I think if this could have went a lot worse for me in terms of my comments here today, if I didn't think Val was the stick out performance like of this, because like the fact that you picked this in light of his recent death, I think I'm happy he's so good in this movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie to
because
remember him for.
If we came to this and we're just like, yeah, it's a very conventional Western and he's okay in it, then I wouldn't have been as excited to talk about it. But I'm like, no, that since Val was the highlight, Val was very
people
good
were surprised when this came out that he wasn't nominated for an Oscar because they thought like, wow, this was a really good performance. I think this is an Oscar nominee for this movie.
He was, I think. I was reading that earlier.
Did you double check that? Because I read he wasn't. Because I think this is an Oscar nominated, worthy nominated performance. Maybe not win, but nominated. For
Actually,
sure.
I have another unique question for
Go
you.
ahead.
Do you like him better in this or Heat?
Best male performance, Val Kilmer nominee.
Oh, he was.
He was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just did win. Who else was it?
Sorry, it was an MTV Movie Award. Sorry, I misread.
Not an Oscar, not an Academy Award. Yeah,
no.
I know he did get nominated for the MTV. Yeah. So, sorry, what was your question? Oh, if this is better than Heat.
The performance.
The performance, yes. As a performance, yes. And this is obviously a more highlighted performance than.
He's interesting.
What was his name?
He's doing a lot in that role without saying much. It's very interesting.
Super Bowl cleaned me out.
It's
one-liners.
I like him in Heat, but he's playing it way differently. He's like just more menacing looking in that.
What was the name of his character in Heat?
I don't know.
Struggling to remember.
Mr. Heat. I can't forget. I can't remember.
Mr. Heat. We talk about it every reference.
For me, the action is the
juice. But that's not said by him. That's said by Tom Sizemore.
I love Tom Sizemore.
Yeah. Rest in peace to him too. He died too, right? Yeah.
We just talked about him, the enemy of the state. He's sweating. He's sweating and eating spaghetti like a shit.
Yeah, man.
I just like guys that sweat in movies like myself. in Enemy of the State, this guy's just sweating in the fucking restaurant every scene.
His character in Heat was Chris
Jaherlis.
Yeah.
Jaherlis.
Right.
And Tom Sizemore was Michael Chiretto. Okay, now remember.
Chiretto. These fucking very Michael Mann names.
Chiretto. No, I mean I love Heat. Heat is like one of my favorite movies.
But he's not the reason. Like,
but he has more
he's
of a
part of it.
He's like the second most important lead in this movie, I would say. Tombstone.
Whereas Heat, it's just Pacino, De Niro.
It's like the standoff, and Val Kilmer is probably like a tertiary character, right?
I would say so. Yeah.
So, this, but Val Kilmer has been in so many great movies, like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Like that's a great performance from Top Gun. Like, you know what I mean?
Can I tell my story quickly?
Sure.
I've actually talked about this on Late Night Chat, I believe, when we used to do those, when it actually happened in real time, because we used to do those shows weekly. So I went to see Top Gun Maverick. I seen it with Peter and Jesse, actually. Jay.
Nice.
And it was like, I think during COVID times when they came out.
2022.
Yeah. Okay. So this is probably like when they first were finally letting us back in theaters freely. And because it was on and off theaters.
Right.
So we went to go watch it. And the whole time, because he's fallen off my radar completely.
Yeah.
I didn't know what's going on with Val Kilmer. Okay. I'm like, oh, this is a weird character for him to come back and play, because he played obviously this guy with the voice box thing in that, because he did literally have throat cancer, right? And I didn't know that. So I thought this was just like what happened to his character in Top Gun. So like after the movie, I'm like talking shit about it. And then I literally like told somebody about it. And they're like, bro, he has cancer. What are you talking about? And I felt like such a fucking piece of shit. I didn't know that, right? So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, that was weird for Val Kilmer to show up and be this character for 2 minutes in the movie. But Tom Cruise had to convince him to come back and for that part.
Yeah.
And it's like a super sad moment of the two characters like talking in the movie.
Yeah.
And like him actually living out like a real life thing that is happening to him because he was fighting.
I like
cancer
that's
at
in
time.
that movie though.
No,
It's
I know,
really
but
nice
it's just I felt like such an ass because I didn't
No,
know
it's-
that
you
to be
didn't know,
the
it's
case.
fine, yeah.
It was just funny in the moment because I'm just talking shit about the character choice. And then all of a sudden, the person's like to me, he's like, "No, he actually has cancer."
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, "Oh shit, my bad."
No, I remembered something happened with because he did fall off. Like we didn't see Val Kilmer for years.
He wasn't in movies
Yeah,
anymore.
so I was
because
like,
of that,
oh.
because he was
And
fighting.
then when I watched it, I was like, there was like a deep feeling in me. I was like, no, this is real. Like Val actually is dealing with this. Like, because even in the movie, he didn't look healthy. Like there was just something off about him.
Even the pictures that you would see of him, a lot of times after that operation, he had that scarf around his neck for that reason.
Yeah, as he did in Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, because
People were thinking that was
they
his
wouldn't
style.
add that. I don't think they would do that to his character if he had not actually was like that, you know. And when he actually does,
they worked it into the storyline.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, let's say Val Kilmer was healthy, they wouldn't make him a sick man in the movie.
That's what threw me off.
Yeah,
I was like, why is he playing
wouldn't.
this?
And
like, right? Like, because it seems like such a trope where where somebody's not in the movie and they have to come up with a way to explain why he's not there. So then I thought that was all purposeful. So when I found
he would have had a bigger
I was very
part.
surprised. And then obviously now,
And,
but he's struggled with it for a long time.
You can even tell when he actually, that very end of that scene, I really love that scene.
Tom Cruise convinced him to do that. You know that, right?
I know that. When Tom and Val are together in that movie, and when he actually does at the very end of that scene, he does say physically use his voice. Remember, he musters up the strength to actually talk. You could tell, like, this is like
he's struggling.
He's struggling. So poor guy, man. He must have been suffering a lot.
There's a documentary of him out right now that Christine actually just recently watched it. She actually doesn't really know too much about him. She enjoyed the documentary. He was like an artist type of guy. Like he actually painted and did all kinds of he actually did artwork. And like he's like you know, when people say like an artist like favorite artists, like people that were actors appreciated his craft and what he kind of did, like in as opposed to maybe even more than like the fans did, you know.
Well, actually, shout out Val. He was he voiced one of my favorite animated films of all time. He voiced Moses in The Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
Do you see that one?
Hell yeah. Fucking
one of my favorites.
Also, like in the 90s, and they actually talked about this. They actually did The Saint recently on the rewatchables. They talked about this. And around that time, this is the time he unfortunately, which they also talk about in the documentary, they had mentioned the fact about it's one of those things in Hollywood. He all of a sudden got this bad rap for himself that he was difficult to work with, right? And it's something that followed him for a while as a result. But he obviously just had a couple of, because he was on that Island of Dr. Moreau set, and apparently that was like a shit
Marlon
show.
Brando.
Yeah, the one in the 90s. Yeah, apparently that was like one of these
the same filmmaker.
One of these productions that went off the rail, and no, it's not the same.
It's John Frankenheimer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It did Roman and all those other.
Exactly. Yeah. He was also in True Romance. He was Elvis. Right?
Yeah.
He was Elvis.
Yeah,
that was a nice little cameo.
It's the real genius.
Shout out to Val, man.
Shout out to Val. I was gonna say, I guess do you guys want to say your piece on Legacy if you have anything to say?
That's mine. It's Val, yeah. Guys, JT, Julie.
Star-studded cast, man. I mean, it had a lot of people that have left legacies behind too that are no longer with us. At a few, right? So, I mean, you got everybody. Even Charleston Heston was in this movie, another one, which is another huge actor. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is, I think, probably one of the better out of all. With me, is country western style movies that are depicted really loosely and you know, for the most part, on real life situations, right? So I mean, there's quite a few out there you can watch, Max, if you really get interested in. But
yeah, send me some because I'm interested.
Yeah.
I was actually
like 50. That documentary is going to talk about, like, since that Nico's talking about, they're going to talk about everything, right? Everything he started. He's been around in a lot of stuff, man. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right?
Yeah.
So
He's so funny in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Gay Perry with him and Robert Downey Jr. Their chemistry together is amazing.
Yeah.
Julie, Legacy, any I know you didn't really like the movie so much, but
I got nothing. They write down
you got
anything.
nothing? Okay, fair enough.
He's partying with I got they're showing pictures. I'm just going through like he's got a gallery on here where people had shared things. He's got these Robert Downey Jr. He's been hanging with Robert Downey Jr. before when they were younger. Oh yeah, it looks like that could have been.
Well, they did a movie together, like he was just saying, right? They did.
Yeah,
That's the movie that basically revived
Shane Black movie.
Downey Jr.'s career kind of before
was,
Iron Man. It was like the lead up to Iron Man.
It was that, then Tropic Thunder, then Iron Man.
No, Tropic Thunder came after.
Then it came out.
The same
but
summer.
He filmed it, I think, before or something like that.
He's great in Tropic Thunder too.
Yeah.
There's also in a movie that my siblings were watching recently, Willow. Yeah. I never saw that movie, but they were watching. I was like, I need to check that out. I think
Warwick Davis, bro.
Yeah. So I need to check that one out
Little
too.
Person. He's great. He also is Leprechaun. The Leprechaun movie. He's also Thicket in he's in Ewok in Star Wars.
In Star Wars, yeah.
Well, Willow is George Lucas.
He's friends with George. No, Willow is Ron Howard.
Oh,
but I think maybe George Lucas might have wrote it.
Producer
wrote it or something. Yeah. No, you're right about that.
Or it's Lucasfilm kind of like production company or something like that. Because it was on Disney Channel recently.
Yeah.
Then
Disney Plus, right?
Yeah, it was. They tried to bring it back as a show and it failed. They removed it. I don't know what happened there. But
do you have any final words on the legacy besides?
No, just shout out to Val. It made me really appreciate him a lot more watching this movie. So I'm glad.
Yeah, rest in peace to a great artist. So movies to pair with. I only really can think of like other Westerns. And so I was just curious to kind of go around and say, if you guys, if just like my own like kind of side question in addition to this, if you guys could go around and say like, what are your favorite Westerns? Like maybe give like 2 or 3. I really, really, really love the True Grit remake that the Coens did with Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon.
That'd be on my list too. Yeah.
I really, really like that movie a lot. So that would be like a pick for me. You guys?
I would say, which I talked about previously, Unforgiven, which I think is like the perfect pairing with this, honestly, because it's from the same era. It's basically the end of Clint Eastwood playing these type of characters. Like it's like a treatise on like that. Like that's the whole point of that film. He won an Oscar for it. Gene Hackman's in that. It's great. So I think that would probably be my favorite Western because I've most recently watched it and I really enjoyed it.
I need to see it.
Morgan Freeman's in it. It's a great movie. Gene Hackman. And also it's again very straight to the point. Like the point of the movie, it's even actually less convoluted of a story than this one is, if you want to call this one a little complicated, because it's a bit of an info dump in terms of the fact that they're using real historical characters in this film, and it also tells you a whole bunch of stuff at the start. In Unforgiven, it kind of just drops you into things and you got to kind of like learn about the characters that are in that because they're not based on real people. So that one's really good. And probably definitely a pairing for this. The other pairing that I think it goes extremely well with this is the Brian De Palma film, The Untouchables, because that's starring Kevin Costner and like what's his name,
Robert De Niro.
No,
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. De Niro's in it too. And it's also about like him taking down Al Capone. So it's again a bunch of guys coming together to take somebody down, similar to kind of like the Outlaws, them up against the Outlaws in this. And there's again, it's an older time movie, like in the night, when it took place. So there's all this great score and music when they're all gathering together in that movie. Jay, have you guys ever seen that, Untouchables?
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's not my favorite De Palma film, but I think it goes very well with this movie.
It is similar in tone too, I feel.
Yes.
And it was just earlier we were saying how like the Western was like the original gangster film, and it eventually morphed into the gangster. So that was like an early time callback, because when they did make those original gangster movies, like from the 30s or wherever, it was kind of like those street gangs in Chicago or whatever. This movie also, Tombstone I'm talking about, had a very, I don't know, this is like for the film geeks out there, had in the opening narration, had a quick image of maybe like the first Western movie called The Great Train Robbery, where the cowboy shooting a gun at the camera or whatever. That is like one of the early images of like a Western in film history, and it has been homaged to death by many filmmakers. Actually, Martin Scorsese did it in Goodfellas when Joe Pesci shoots at the screen at the end of the
yeah,
at the end of the movie,
yeah,
and
yeah.
in American Gangster 2, there's a scene
The
when
POV is of him with the gun towards
holding and shooting
basically
it at the
killing
camera,
the audience,
killing the audience,
essentially.
shooting
Yeah,
it at the
yeah,
audience
yeah.
essentially, and that was like that image of that movie is in Tombstone in the opening crawl, in the opening kind of narrations of it. So it's like 1903, 1906. That movie
Well, I
came
know
down.
Scorsese knows his shit.
Yeah, he
so
knows his
that,
shit for
yeah.
sure. So, anyway, so guys, other movies to pair with, they don't have to necessarily be westerns. I don't know if you finished your list.
Oh,
But,
the only other one I had was Heat because
Heat, yeah.
it's I think the pinnacle. Like this is the peak for me for
Val Kilmer, yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I mean Batman Forever seems too off for me for the tone.
I've not seen that. I need to go back.
I know that's probably Julie's picks. Sorry, and I'm stepping on her picks.
Go ahead, Julie. I know you love this category. Like,
Come to
movies-
me at the end. Come to me at the end.
Come to you at the end. Okay, fair enough. JT, movies to pair with / what are your favorite westerns?
Oh, I think maybe a movie to pair with this is if you want and Western at the same time is the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is another.
Oh, I love that one.
Watch.
So
Yeah.
good.
But I like Unforgiven. I like Young Guns. I like all those types of There's some of them are a little cheesy. Right?
Young Guns is cheesy.
Yo-
Young Guns is cheesy.
Young Guns is more cheesy.
I like it, but it's cheesy.
I don't think I've seen that. Yo, have you guys seen this movie? It's with Kurt Russell called Bone Tomahawk.
No, I heard it's crazy.
It is a western, and it is so gruesome.
Yeah.
It's brutal, very violent. Actually, this filmmaker that made it, he makes all his movies are incredibly violent, but that one is one of the most insane movies I've ever seen. Like, if you guys are in the mood for like Kurt Russell western, and then something that's like very gruesome and brutal, like check that one out.
What else I like for westerns? I'm just trying to think. I've seen so many, but not like crazy enough to remember everything, right? But I think I said like 4 there or something.
I guess
like
you
that.
could also throw in the Kevin Costner Wyatt Earp, although I haven't seen it, so I feel kind of
That one's
funky recommending it. But
I'm trying to find the Jesse James one
that would make a good. Oh, the assassination of Jesse with Brad Pitt, right?
Is it the ballot? No,
I
there's
think
one
Howard
called.
Robert Ford.
With Brad Pitt
We
and
talked about it.
Yeah.
So, okay, there's this
I don't remember what the name.
this is so off topic, but there's this movie, there's the documentary that Casey Affleck directed with Joaquin Phoenix called I'm Still Here. There was like the
Yeah, where
mockumentary
he's a rapper.
where he loses his mind, basically. He decides he's gonna quit acting. And he goes to P. Diddy, asking him advice on how to be a rapper. And Casey Affleck is in the room too, because Casey is like a director filming it or whatever. And Diddy's just like fucking around with the remote, like watching TV or whatever. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're the actor or whatever." Casey Affleck. He's like, "You were in that one I really liked." And Casey's like, Jesse James. He's like, Diddy's just like, nah. That shit was kind of whack. He just says it flat out to Casey Affleck's face that his movie was terrible. And he's like, no, Gone Baby Gone. Yo, that's my shit. Like, so I don't know. I always think of that. Whenever someone mentions that movie, I always think of that scene.
That movie's good. Gone Baby Gone.
Gone Baby Gone's great. Yeah, I like that too.
No, I never seen that one.
Oh, you love it, Jay, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, I think you would like that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll check it out, see what it's all about.
So, are you done with pairing?
Yeah, I don't have much to pair with the westerns. They're a little bit interesting and a little off tone for me.
All right, go ahead, Julie.
Off tone.
I'm dying to hear what she wants to say.
I could play the Django's and all that stuff.
Drum
You ready?
roll. Yeah.
Just play Red Dead.
Yeah.
Just play Red Dead.
You took my answer when I said play Grand Theft Auto when you watched Beach Bum. Like,
Just play Red Dead.
I was the first one to say that.
I got no movies to pair with. Just play Red Dead.
Not wrong.
1 or 2 or both.
Both.
Man, I thought you were gonna see Batman Forever. What are you doing? Like,
Which one is better? I have Red Dead.
You want to see a good Val Kilmer that I love? Batman Forever.
Yeah.
There you go.
But this is a fucking great movie. I don't dispute that at all. For Val Kilmer's role, like, this was an ace performance for him. I can't recommend any Val Kilmer performance that was better than this.
Was this the best performance of his career, you think? Like, what did you guys say?
I haven't seen.
I don't know enough of the catalog to make that.
Yeah.
Of what have you seen? Is this the best you've seen?
Yes.
I think so. Me too.
I honestly, that I told you, that's my biggest takeaway.
I
from
would take this
watch.
over The Doors, and I've seen The Doors.
I had so much fun hearing him talk as this character and do this character in this. It's just that's why I said I'm going to revisit it, because I had a lot of fun with it. Like you said, it's very conventional, and I can't really even take more than that away from it. Like,
it's just such a cool character.
At the end of the day, like I
so
said,
cool.
it was entertaining as a Western, but he's the highlight for me about this, for sure. So I think mission accomplished in terms of highlighting it is a character that's beloved of his, for sure.
Yeah.
Which one is better, Julie? Red Dead 1 or 2?
I haven't played either of them.
Oh, so what? Why are you, so
only
why are you throwing that out there?
I've only watched it. I know enough. I've seen it played.
Okay.
It's a great story.
But Red Dead 2.
You played both of them? Which one is better?
2.
2 is better?
2.
Okay.
People would say the story's better in 1.
Okay.
But some people,
I think it's more relevant to this to play 2.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. So is that it? Any final words since it was your pick?
No, I'm glad I picked this. We just said, highlighting Val Kilmer, and so, send him off, to the peace, Val, peace to the next world,
So
I don't know what else to say.
strap in. Then
I think I can guess what he's gonna say.
Go ahead.
Should I write it on a piece of paper,
Sure.
and then if it turns out
That's lit. Yeah, do that.
Okay.
Do you guys want to guess?
I got
Well,
no
your
idea.
next pick's gonna be. It's probably gonna be a fucking Tarantino film. Can I say that?
You think it's gonna be Tarantino?
Okay, I got it.
So it's not Tarantino.
Scorsese. So
No, it's not Tarantino, but it's a huge movie that inspired Quentin Tarantino.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Are you writing it down too, Nico?
What?
Are you also writing it down?
No, I actually have the Blu-ray right beside me.
Okay.
I bought it
he's just gonna pull out the Blu-ray.
Blowout by Brian De Palma.
Oh,
So this is by Brian De Palma. It's a movie, Scarface. So it's the same director. It's the same director. So that literally would be probably my next pick if I had to pick. So this is a great film. I mean, at least in my opinion, I hope that we all really get to enjoy watching this.
Nice.
It's
You have the Criterion too.
It's the Criterion Collection,
Nice.
which is like they usually curate the best films. So John Travolta is in this film. It's from 1981. This is what inspired, in part, like Tarantino to put him in Pulp Fiction, because he's such a big Brian De Palma fan.
Mhm.
And this movie, when it came out, I mean, we'll probably talk about this more when we do the film, but apparently it wasn't that well received. And it threw Travolta's career and kind of to the tailspin that turned out to be like where he was at when he had to recast him in Pulp Fiction and basically bring him back to kind of like prominence at that time. So this is all in part, apparently, this was the start of that downfall, because he went out of his way to kind of do a different type of role with a very interesting director, Brian De Palma, at this time, who does like a lot of like Hitchcock kind of inspired, like more like I don't know, like a lot of like noirish type films and like things that are like this one's basically like a straight up conspiracy movie. So I'm really looking forward to talking about this. This is one that I watched last year. I'd never seen it before. And it's one of those movies that I watched it and then I had to watch it again directly after. And I was like, how have I never seen this movie? Like, this is one of those ones where I'm like, this took me entirely too long to discover this. So I really liked it. So I hope you guys do too. But I'm looking forward to the discussion on this one, because it's a very interesting film.
A great pick.
Yeah. So and this is one that I've been wanting to do since we've restarted the show.
Oh yeah. I remember you wanted to do that.
Every pick I've made has been somewhat theme oriented up till this point. This is my first
like true
pick of like I just want to pick.
I remember.
Bangers now.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. So this is Blow Up by Brian De Palma. That'll be our next pick.
Great
and for
pick.
anybody that's like that checks these shows out. You have 2 weeks after you see this. If you want to watch the film and watch this show along with us, it's a 2-week period for you to go and check that movie out before we actually put the episode out. So we've been kind of keeping up to date on these. So they've been bi-weekly. So whenever you see these episodes where we announce the next pick, just know you have about 2 weeks from the airing of that episode to go and watch this movie.
Nice.
If you kind of want to watch it along with us. I figured that was worth mentioning here today. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's interesting. It's an interesting period for John Travolta. He sucks these days. So
no, don't do that, bro.
He does.
Don't do that, bro.
Yeah,
I love John Travolta. No, like it was in that new one. He's like in a not new but newer from Paris with Love. Have you seen that?
Yeah, the way he's bald.
He's so I love John Travolta in anything, bro. He steals the movie, and he's like Charlie Wax.
I'm just saying
Charlie Wax.
this showed me him in a light where I
He's a
was
younger
I was
guy.
very impressed by him in
Yeah.
this film. To say,
No,
say
John
the least.
Travolta.
No, I like John Travolta too. He's
And,
great. But
So that I was just reading the back. It has like an essay by Pauline Kael on there, who's like a critic that Tarantino really loves, and she said that the world, like Hollywood, is a much better industry with John Travolta in it. She was like a big champion of Travolta as well. So no, I love Travolta.
yeah, so I'm looking forward to. Has anybody here seen this?
I have not actually,
No,
but I know that Tarantino is like that's one of his favorite
He's
movies. I was like,
obsessed
yeah,
with
he's
this
obsessed
movie.
with that movie.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
actually really looking forward to like actually now sitting down and
Yeah.
checking it out. So
And we
great
actually
pick.
haven't had any really Brian De Palma films
No.
on this show. Not even I think from before when me and Jay were doing.
Oh
it.
yeah, really? Okay.
I don't think we've done any Brian De Palma.
You didn't do Untouchables?
No, we haven't done Scarface. We haven't done
Carrie?
No. We haven't done. I've recently watched a bunch of his movies, so we'll talk about them when we do the episode.
Nice.
So.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Great pick.
Okay, so that's gonna be our next episode, everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you to Max for his pick. Great pick. RIP to Val. And I believe after on our next episode, it's back to Julie for her pick. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. Later, everyone.
Later.